Hello and welcome to yet another Legends of Runeterra podcast. I'm Conan's son, and I'm joined by Vic once more. You also see us in the
Hello,
bottom
everyone.
right. And we have our special guest, who is one of the best writers in the Legends of Runeterra, and is a very cracked player as well. We have Neil is joining us once again for some card ratings.
Hello.
Neil, introduce yourself shortly. We have already had you here once with your 8-1 finish in seasonals, but still somebody didn't watch that. Are you?
So I am Nihilist. I'm mainly a Ravenous Flock one trick, but and I am I'm a top 32 player from the Curious Journey seasonal tournament.
Nice. Glad to have you here. And you will probably also be a writer for Master Runeterra, I've heard.
It's in the works.
Nice.
Work in progress.
Spoilers.
So we'll be on the same level as like Majin Bay in the future.
Wow, what a
I wouldn't go that far.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. That's disrespectful to Nihilist. Like, Nihilist is going to be far above for sure.
Yes, exactly. So really glad to have you here, and we're really looking at some cards. And you
It's
can
always
see,
nice to have you here.
And you can see over on the right side our ratings. We each rated all of these cards individually without like looking at our ratings or discussing them. 1 is the lowest, so 1 is like a card you would never put into a deck. It's just terrible. And 10 is the best. We also rate them for competitive viability. So how likely are those decks to be seen in seasonals, seen in tournaments? Not just how cool are they, how fun are they, because honestly, I love every single Legend of Terra card. I would just give all of them a 10 for design. But we rate them for how much actual play they will see on the ladder and on tournaments, and not just for flavor, for example. And 1 is the lowest, 10 is the highest, and you can see our ratings over in the top right. So, we will start off with the first champion, which is Kaiser, my favorite champion. I own like 6 Kaiser skins in League, despite not even playing League that much. And I absolutely waited for her for a very long time. That she's finally here. And she is in Shurima, 5 mana, 4/4 with quick attack and evolve. Evolve is a new keyword, basically works like deep. If you fulfill the condition, you get stat buff permanently, just +2/+2 instead of +3/+3. And you have to have played 6 other keywords. So you have to have had 6 other keywords on a unit. For example, Kaiser's quick attack, then you have to summon 6 other ones. For example, Yeti would count as another one. Or some of these other cards you see as well. So this one also count. Then once you have 6, all of your evolve guys get +2/+2. So she starts off as a 4/4, will turn into a 6/6 later. And her actual text is, when I'm summoned or round start, so same as Aurelia, if you have the attack token, create a second skin in hand. Second skin is grant allied Kaisers everywhere another ally's positive keywords. So you target another guy, he has Fated, it's also porking, and then you permanently give Kaiser and all her copies these keywords. And she levels up when you evolved, so when you have these 6 keywords, and then she has the same summon and round start effect. Also has an attack trigger that deals 1 for each keyword she has to enemies or the enemy nexus. It actually goes around, can't hit the same target again in a row. First hits everybody and then goes back around, and can also hit the nexus, so just deals a bunch of AoE damage on attack. And we've all rated her kind of similarly. I gave her 7, Nihilist gave her 7, and Vic, you also gave her 7. I guess we also have the Champ Spell, which is just Supercharge. We will talk about that later as well.
Mm-hmm. I gave it an 8.
An 8, yeah, my bad.
But on average, we got a 7.
Yeah. And Nihilist, because you are our guest, I want to have you start on this one. What do you think about Kaiser?
Yeah, I think she's just a solid Shurima mid-range champion. She does a lot of the things that Shurima mid-range likes. She's got the quick attack to take advantage of all the vulnerables. There's already quite a lot of keywords within that package. Quick attack being one of them. There's fearsome with stuff like Merciless Hunter. There's a whole bunch of these keywords that Sushi can flip quite readily in that package. That's obviously our own support cards. Obviously, she's going to be quite strong. and that level 2 is also quite strong. I think the one, at least initially, my one concern is her competing against Sivir in a lot of those decks. They're around the same mana point, they're a quick attack unit, and they're caring about keywords in albeit slightly different ways. And I think the thing that might hold her back on a competitive front is just which of Kai'Sa or Sivir do you end up running in your Shurima mid-range deck?
Yeah, I think that's a really interesting comparison. I've seen a lot of people talking about just playing Akshan Kai'Sa with Demacia in a similar way that we're currently playing Sivir. I think Kai'Sa is a little bit later game than Sivir, but I don't know. I also just have a hard time judging evolve as a keyword and like trying to figure out how fast it levels up, and how fast it procs.
I think it will proc around turn 6, turn 7, as Deep does if you build a deck around it. And my personal approach would just be to play Sivir Kai'Sa, like together. Why not just play your Sivir on curve on 4, and then you play Kai'Sa later on. Already have Space Shield, then also give you a Sivir Overwhelm with the Supercharge. Cruise along. Copy over the Space Shield from the Sivir with second skin. Fine combination.
Yeah, and I think Sivir Kai'Sa does look like an enticing pair, and the fact that they're both Shurima obviously helps. But yeah, it's just weighing how valuable Akshan in and his value is to that game plan.
Mm-hmm. You will have to see, but definitely Demacia comes to mind just for Scout, for example. If you get 2 attacks, I guess you don't get the it's not like Riven where you get 2 second skins, but you still get like attack trigger twice, for example, and it's just really powerful to have Scout on Kai'Sa. It's only available in Bilgewater and Asia, or Evelynn, as we will see later. But yeah, Demacia seems like the obvious pairing. I thought of maybe PNC as well, with like Victor. Just load up your Victor with keywords, and then you just copy all those keywords over to Kai'Sa. Also doesn't seem terrible. But we'll have to see where she finds a home. Moving on to our first follower. Our first non-champion card. We are going from bottom to the top here. We're covering these random support cards later. And the first one will be Voidseeker. And we have our first disparity here. Me and Neil disagree on a 6. And Vic is at a 10. What does it do? 1 mana slow in Shurima, deal 1 to a follower. If you've evolved, deal 3 instead. Vic, why is this card insane?
Well, I think that providing Shurima with a ping is something that we've not seen before for the region. I don't believe that it has any way to really interact with small units. We have the Akshan champion spell, and we have the really bad Nasus siphoning strike spell as well. I can't think of any. Like, it's just something new for Shurima. You can ping off a 2/1 from your opponent, and later in the game you can deal 3, and 3 is a massive health point in this game. I think that having a 1 mana deal 1 or 3 is very powerful. And I don't know. I think it's just a crazy card to me.
Interesting.
I would love to see why you guys don't rate it that highly.
I think it's just like a 1 mana deal 1, which was never good in any card game I've ever played. Especially it just hits followers. If your opponent plays a Teemo turn 1, you just sit there and are sad. And if you look at other 1 mana deal 1s like Go Hard, it does something else. It has like a late game use as well. And same with Thermo, which you see as a 1 mana deal 1 if you need it. It can hit champions as well. So if your opponent plays a Teemo, you can just Thermo it. If you just draw this on turn 8 or something, you can just kill a big guy with it. And with Voidseeker,
That's true.
yes, you just deal 3 to a follower, but like it's just a follower. Why does it matter?
It is follower. Okay. You know what? I did kind of miss that part. I'll be honest. I'm gonna drop this down at least 2 points.
And I think the other thing is it It's just what Shurima decks this is fitting into. I think a lot of the decks that might activate the evolved clause probably won't want this type of effect. They'd rather just be playing units and controlling the board that way. But maybe something like Mono Shurima might consider this as a control tool. But that's a deck that doesn't seem at all likely to have the evolved, so it's always just going to be a 1-mana deal one.
I could
Do
also
you think
see
that? Oh,
Yeah.
go ahead.
I could also
no,
see
go ahead.
I could also see this in like a Bilgewater pile, because you might play Bilgewater for like powder kegs, for example, with like Kaiser. You have a powder keg with Kaiser, their skill deals like massive damage. Would be fun, and then you can also have this to buff up, maybe.
Yeah, you're just running Kaisa and the big boat, right? Doubling up all the damage.
The Siren.
That sounds great. No, the I guess the Siren too. I was thinking about the GP boat.
Ah,
The Leviathan? No. Why not both? True. You know what?
Because then you get Scout and Fearsome.
You know what? You're right. We need the boat just to give Kaisa Scout. True. So now we're playing Kaisa MF, right?
why not both?
With the man, what a crazy. I mean, this would be really funny with Kaisa, but I don't know. I don't think it's a real concept. I think Voidseeker. I don't know. I just feel like whenever I get hit by the Zareth spell that destroys a landmark to deal 4, I get really upset. So 1 mana potentially deal 3 is like really annoying.
Yeah, but it also kills champions, so
Yeah, that's true. This thing doesn't hit champions, and that makes it really bad.
Yeah.
I'm having a harder time rationalizing what I initially put it at, but I think an 8 is okay. I think an 8 might be too high still.
fine.
It's okay.
Niels, what do you think about the special 5 champions? Like you play 3 Kaiser and then 1 Sivir, 1 Gangplank, 1 MF, and then just 1 both boats.
I mean, it sounds fun.
Fun.
Whether it works is a very different question.
Exactly.
True.
It certainly sounds fun.
Okay, let's move on to the next card. And we have the Hive Herald. A 6-mana 3/3 with Evolve and play, grant a unit and me each other's positive keywords. Usually this is just used on, if you have a big unit with keywords already, then just this takes all of the keywords and gives this unit Evolve. I guess you can technically give this some kind of keywords in your hand. I don't know how you would even do that, because Hothead doesn't work. Yeah,
I don't think so. You can give it the barrier, right?
yeah, with the Shen. Like
Yeah, with the this card's garbage.
yeah, it's
You know?
garbage.
I think it's just bad.
Make your own Bride's Protector 101.
Hell yeah.
So we all gave it like I and Nihilist gave it a 3, same rating once again, and Vic a 4. And yeah, it's garbage. I guess it's my turn to explain why it's garbage. It's just like a win more card. Like if you have behind on board, you just play this as a 6-mana 5/5, does nothing. You have another unit, then it's okay. If you already have a big unit with thousands of keywords and your opponent can't deal with it, then it's good, but then you're already winning. Like if you have a Victor with 10 keywords, you don't need another unit that also has 10 keywords, then you just already have won the game. So it's just a win more card and very, very expensive. Anything you want to add?
Yeah, I mean, it's exactly that. It takes another unit to already be your win condition to become a win condition, and at 6 mana, that's essentially that's the mana point that you want to have your own win condition, and it just isn't that on its own. So
nice that we all agree so far.
Yeah.
Okay, next card.
I don't think you can use that button.
Unfortunately not. Belvethi Elder, the next one. A 2-mana Shurima 3/1 with Spell Shield and Evolve. And here we have one outlier. I and Vic I have it at 7, Vic at 6, and Nihilist you have it at 3, so you don't see this card being run like ever. What's your reasoning for that?
I think the 3/1 stat line hurts. It just can't really. It trades down into just so much, and I think that really, really hurts. Yes, it has spell shield, but as an early game unit, that doesn't matter massively, I don't think. And also, just Shuriman has a lot of kind of stacked number of 2-drops. You've got stuff like you've got Rockhopper, you've got Chronomancer, and then you've also just got, if I'm thinking as potentially the kind of the best shell for this evolve, and looking into Demacia, you've then got stuff like Bright Steel Protector, that's giving you Barret, that's quite good. You've obviously got Broadwing, that's giving you both Challenger and Formidable, that's quite good. And they're just generically very strong units, so I think Spell Shield on a unit that early game and frail isn't that good, and it just gets outcompeted out of the 2-drop slot, in my opinion.
Interesting. My reasoning against like Rockhopper, for example, would be that it just doesn't have any keywords on it. They don't really progress your evolve at all. And historically, these scaling 2-drops have been very strong, even in Runeterra, we have like Sea Scarab, which also works for this win condition, like going deep. Just having a 2-mana 5/6 later on in the game is really good. And so 2-mana 5/3 would also still be okay. And I think the spell shield does matter against some decks that run like pings, if you have like Go Hard, or even like the one spell we saw before that. Then
Wild Feast.
Or Wild Feast, for example, then it matters. Or even an Avalanche. If you play against Feel the Rush, you just have this one guy. You look at like these fair guys. Just the fair folk, like the 2/1 with Spell Shield, just really always ask yourself, why does this card have Spell Shield? It's annoying enough. And I think it's just okay. Like maybe 7 is a little bit high, but I think it's like one of the better evolve cards. And
it's a fearsome blocker.
Yeah. I can see your point, Nihilist, with like just trading down into any random value units. It's currently a problem. Just have your Pharaohs, Financiers and stuff. You just like trade into it and it's sad about your life, but I think Spell Shield is valuable to have.
Yeah, I think Spell Shield is big because like you're trying to just have different units with different keywords on board for your Kaisa to kind of copy, right? And I think like this, but I guess we could just be running Silver, right?
Yeah.
If we want Spell Shield that bad.
Then you have to draw your Sylvia and you have to
also,
draw
you
both
just
champions.
have Supercharge.
Oh, Supercharge as well, yeah.
Just true, right? This card, I don't know. I like that it's a 3-attack unit. I don't think that it's ever getting in. I think it's like a purely defensive unit. I mean, it's fine. I think it's gonna be in a lot of Control F evolve decks, and I think it's gonna be one of the first cards to be cut.
Maybe, yeah. I think the 5 is like okay, it will definitely see some play maybe, and will get cut again afterwards. Maybe I don't know if how important or how hard Evolve will be to flip. That's why I gave it a little bit of a higher rating.
Well, this is 2, right? This is 2 keywords on 2, right?
No, it doesn't count Evolve.
Say you
have other keywords.
It doesn't count Evolve?
No.
That's dumb.
Anyways. Let's move on to the next card. The Void Abomination. 8 mana, 5/4. When I'm summoned, grant me all positive keywords allies have had this game. It also has Evolve, so it turns into a 7/6 later. And at a turn 8, if you don't have Evolve, you're doing something wrong with your deck. When I see an ally with a new positive keyword, grant it to me. So it's kind of the same text as the Arsenal, which has definitely seen a lot of competitive play. But it's now 9. When did it turn into 9? I thought it was an 8/6 as well.
It got buffed with the when it lost Scout.
I didn't see it since then, I guess. But it's basically the same text, unlike, but it's just like the summoning is a little different. Because with Arsenal, what you can do is you can hourglass it, and just like, I guess you can also do it with the Abomination, but it doesn't do it much, and you should just basically get every keyword. Domination doesn't stack the impact, so you can only get like 1 impact, or if you outclass
One
it, 2 impact. You won't just get
Yeah.
randomly 15 impact with it.
Yeah.
And
So
I have it at 5, Vic, you have it at 7, and Nihilist at 2 again. So you are not a fan of these big win condition cards, Nihilist.
No, I think whether this card works will just live or die by whether you can fit Scout into whatever your evolved deck is. I think because I think as we've quite clearly seen, Scout is the most powerful keyword you can get on any of these units. I guess maybe double attack is in this thing.
What's the difference? Double attack is Scout, right?
Well, exactly. They're basically the same thing.
Yeah.
So the point is, it needs one of them to be able to really work, and then it just kind of feels win more as well. It's an 8-drop. You've already had one of these keywords. You've already had all of this stuff that's going for you. At that point, you probably should have been winning anyway, and it just seems too overkill, in my opinion.
I mean, people have run Nagakaburos against me in the season days in like higher rounds. I've seen quite some, as a one-off of course, but and also like a big win more card with like tentacles and stuff. Sometimes just want to have like an expensive 8-cost card. So maybe. My reasoning.
Yeah.
Vic, what do you think?
I feel like it's how we see Plunder running one Field Rush, where you're fine having this big, expensive win condition that is sort of tertiary even to what you're normally going to be playing for. Evolve seems to be like a mid-range combo deck, like the devs have indicated. You're playing for the Evolve playout of getting all your units to be +2/+2. You're slam jamming keywords and hoping to smash on them. I think if you're hitting turn 8, turn 9, and this thing's coming down, you have to win that turn. And I think it's okay as like a finish the game now button for Evolve. I think, like you were saying, I think it's gonna be like a one off. I don't think if you're running 3, I think that's like a huge mistake.
Yeah. I also gave it like a one-off. If like Evolve is a deck, then this might, some players will probably bring it as a one-off, but not much more. And if you don't think Evolve will be a deck, then it's probably like a 2 is appropriate.
Yeah. I think probably the one thing I'd say is for these really big expensive things, even if you're running them as a one-off, like the purpose of running them as a one-off is almost to if you're behind, you can just slam this and then win immediately. And I think this will ultimately come down to what the deck looks like. But if you don't have, it does need some certain keywords, ideally Scout, to be able to kind of pull those games back from really behind. And I think it will depend how these decks shape out, whether they have those keywords that will let it pull games back from so far behind.
Yeah.
I think this card is going to be really gross with Demacia. If it is, because like you were saying, we need Scout, right? And we can get Scout, we can get Double Attack, we can get Lifesteal and Tough, all from Demacia. Those are all kind of scary keywords to just have. I think what makes this card very powerful is the specific wording of have had this game. I don't think we've seen a card that references the graveyard so specifically. Like, it's gonna be annoying to keep up with this card and keep track of like what keywords your opponent has played. But maybe I'm just being silly.
I don't think you keep track of it. Like, it's just know it's will be like a Space Shield Overwhelm guy. Sometimes that's Scout or not. And with the point Nihilist was making, I think like it will never come down as no keywords because it's just like the deck. Like you can say Arsenal. Like I once saw an Arsenal with 2 keywords, but it's just like then you just did your game plan fundamentally wrong. But
crazy.
Yeah. So I don't think it will really ever come down as like 2 keywords. And if you play this card on 8 with 2 keywords, you have already lost the game a long time ago. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think we landed on it on average as a 5. That's pretty mid. And that's fine. I'm okay
Nice.
with that.
Let's see if we keep on rating every evolve unit as a with the split.
I know. Super mid.
Okay, Void Blaster is next, a 4-mana 4/4 with Evolve and Overwhelm. And we all agree, nice. The shorter
Yeah.
one. I gave it a 5. Nihilist and Vic, you gave it a 6. My reasoning for giving it a little bit lower grade is because Shurima just has a lot of different sources of Overwhelm. We have the Supercharge, the Kaiser spell, we have like Lucky Finds, we have a bunch of different cards. Absolver, for example, yes. And I don't think this Overwhelm will be that important, but it's just like a 4-mana 4/4 is always a decent stat line. If you play a opponent with a chase, you're never like, oh my god, it's so small. Just like a decent stat line. And this will just be
Isn't this just specifically power creep from that Noxus Ballista card?
No, Ballista is 3 mana.
Ballista's 3 mana.
Oh, 3 mana. Okay. That's okay. 4 mana.
We have no power creep in this game.
No power creep. Never. Okay. That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
I don't know. This card's cool. It's fine. Go ahead, Niels.
I think the one thing I like about this is it's something that curves into Kaiser, and it's something with a keyword that Kaiser likes. Like Overwhelm is probably one of the better keywords to get on her. That and obviously Spell Shield that she can get from maybe a Sivir. But having Sivir and this as maybe the two things that you play and then play Kaiser and then steal keywords off of feels nice.
It's a good curve.
Exactly.
I think it's scary seeing an Overwhelm unit at 4 mana. Like, I feel like 3/4 mana has always been like the Overwhelm like dead zone. That card's not real. Don't show me Callous Bone. That card is not real. Callous Bone Crusher is not a card, even with all the buffs. But I think, if we slot this into a Overwhelm deck in Freljord, I think it slaps. Like, who even cares about Evolve? It's a 4-mana. Okay. At the end of the day, it's a 4-mana 4/4 with Overwhelm. This thing is pretty chunky. Like, I can see this being like a 4-mana 4/3. Oh man, is it better than Renekton?
Probably not.
Probably not.
Renekton's okay.
I think the deck runs enough. That deck would run enough vulnerable stuff to make it matter.
We can throw Papercraft on this thing. It's cool.
Oh no.
I don't know. I think this card's super solid. I don't think it's overly busted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You all agree.
And I like where we landed. Yeah, I like where we landed on it.
Nice.
It's one of the better Evolve cards, for sure.
Yeah. I agree. Toolbox. This one will be a 3 of in all Evolve decks, and that'll be correct.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, next up, Voidling, which is just patched Porobot, but as a 1-mana 1/1. It's a 1-mana Shurima 1/1 with Evolve, so it turns into a 3/3 later. And while in hand, I have a random keyword that changes each round. When I'm summoned, grant me this keyword. I have it at 7, Nihilist and Vic. I guess Nihilist at 4, Vic at 5. I find this card to be insane in our Evolve decks, if they are a thing. Because a 1/1 that turns into a 3/3 later has historically in Magic been very good. At least in like limited formats, which I kind of compare this Legend of Terror to because it's still so combat focused. Just having this 1/1 that does something, it enables its own cost, and then turns into a 3/3 later was really, really good. And this just does so much for the archetype as well because it gives you a random keyword. Not just not just like Evelynn, it's just be random, like 10 random starts. And you even get like I guess you can't get Scout anymore, but you can get Lifesteal, for example. If you have a Lifesteal Kaiser, that's pretty strong. And
helpful.
Something that you don't usually have. I think this card will see play and will possibly enable a lot of different Evolve archetypes. And will be one of the best Evolve cards, I think. And even might be run in other decks. I'm not sure which deck yet, but like a one-drop aggressive deck, for example. I don't know.
I think for sure it's an auto include in any Evolve deck. I think it just needs a critical mass of keywords, and this can get it. I don't know how much play is outside of that though, because I mean, it's outside of Evolve. It's suddenly competing against stuff like Treasure Seeker a lot more.
Yeah,
and that's a pretty tough ask.
Yeah, Treasure Seeker's a nuts card.
Yeah,
See,
true.
I think in Evolve it's kind of it's a necessary card to run. Outside of it, I don't know, just because of Treasure Seeker being so nuts. And then maybe you run both, but who knows?
I think this card is one that's going to enable Evolve a lot because you just like can hold it in your hand and just wait until it is elusive. And you just like later on play for 3 mana, 3/3 elusives, for example. It would be like the dream scenario. But even if it's like Challenger, if it's quick attack, it's just so good as a catch-up tool. And
Challenger. Oh, wow. I think Challenger is one that I didn't even think about. I was thinking about, if you slam this card on one, you really want it to have like elusive or fearsome, and I think that's really solid. I think Challenger makes this card really crazy. I didn't even think about that.
just so many random keywords. Even if you like tough on it, you just give you Kaiser tough for the future.
Yeah,
so nice.
yeah. I guess I'm trying to think about this card just like by itself. Like I didn't want to rate this card too highly, but I thought it was like solid enough to be played in, in Evolve as a 3 of. I don't think it gets outside of the region or outside of that archetype though.
Yeah, maybe not, but I think in that archetype it will. If the archetype will be a thing, it will be a thing because of Voidling being good.
Yeah. I can
Nice.
agree with that.
Let's move on. I guess that's already missing a card here. Oh, Supercharge we didn't talk about, right?
Oh gosh.
So Supercharge.
Yeah.
You're the lowest, wow. 3
Yes.
mana, focus in Shurima, grant, so permanent, grant an ally, overwhelm, and spell shield. I have it as a 9, Nihilist at an 8, and Vic at a 7.
Yeah.
Vic, what's wrong? Don't you
I
like
mean,
this
it's sick. It's sick. It's like a 3 mana focus spell, so it's like fundamentally proactive. You can't do anything reactive with it. I think Spell Shield is exceptionally strong reactively. I mean, this counters whatchamacallit, what is the mini morph? This counters mini morph pretty well. So I guess like it's a very good tool that enables you to use finishers. You know what I'm saying? I don't think it's crazy. Like it's nothing on its own, and like you don't want to just be throwing this on any card. I think Shurima has a lot of overwhelm granters or givers in this game. Like I don't know. I think it's fine. I don't think it's like as crazy as people were going nuts over this card on Twitter and like really acting like it was Andrew World, and I don't think it is.
Nihilist, what do you think?
Yeah, I think I kind of agree. I think Shurima does have a lot of access to Overwhelm. We've seen Absolver, and we've just got also the fact that they have a bunch of just natural Overwhelm threats.
Mhm.
And they also already have a lot of protection.
Yeah.
A lot of their key units already have Spell Shield with
Yep.
Sivir and Maruna, etc. And they've
Yep.
got Rotor Negation, and they've got Hourglass, which
Yep.
I guess is a little weaker, but still.
Hourglass
And
is a problem.
yeah, it's just maybe less good for going for attack turns. It's like the one weakness of it.
Yeah.
But we've seen enough with the Shurima Papercraft deck just how good Shurima already is at protecting threats.
Right.
And I think the question is whether it needs to, and loads of decks need to run Supercharge, or whether they're just running and Absolver and enough protection anyway.
Yeah.
But on the flip side, running this then means you don't have to dedicate as many other slots to protection, which has its pros as well.
So my reason for rating this card so highly is not because of existing decks. I don't think any of the existing decks, maybe Action Sivir will run this. I think this will single-handedly enable so many different strategies that are like kind of niche before. Action Pantheon, for example, would be one. Taric Boomerang
Action
Blade.
Lee Sin.
Yes, Action Lee Sin is not niche. I went like 6-1 on it. But like just Taric, I think is really good, really cool.
It's cool on Taric. Actually, wow, yeah, it's really cool on Taric.
And
I really like
I
it.
don't know if you knew this, but Boomerang Blade actually kills like 4 units with Taric, because you just copy it as well. And that just gets
Whoa!
enabled.
Okay,
That's
hold on.
not
Wait,
fair.
huh?
Yeah, no, that works.
Yes.
And 2 of her burst speed dying.
Yo!
It kind of sounds
Okay.
like a meme, because the deck is bad if you don't draw your Taric and you didn't have like good ways to Space Shield in it yet. But if you give your Taric over Space Shield first and Overwhelm,
Yo, that's really funny. That's actually super funny.
or even stuff like Akshan Udyr, maybe if Udyr, you want to build up a big Udyr and you just give it
Oh,
Space Shield.
yeah.
I don't think any of the existing decks will
well,
run it, but
Well,
stuff will go back.
Akshan has Spell Shield in his kit, right? And you can grant all champions Spell Shield.
Yeah, but if the game goes that long that you have the shield of the whatever, then you.
I guess. I mean, I feel like Supercharge would be problematic if it was 2 mana. And I think at 3 mana, it's just fine. Like, people are going to try to compare it to Bastion at 3 mana, and it's just not the same card. Like, Bastion is a crazy card.
Because it's reactive and this isn't. And that's...
It's burst. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like, fundamentally. Like, I think, this card, Spell Shield, is as impactful as Yumi's Spell Shield. You know what I mean? It matters. It absolutely matters. But it's not a blowout moment.
Against some matchups, it is. Like, if you play enough Pantheon, sometimes you just have your Yumi, and then you just like, haha, I have Space Shield, and you can't ever kill my stuff anymore.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. No, Spell Shield is fucking crazy. It's a crazy, like, it's like one of the, I don't know. We could just talk about, like, this card is crazy, fundamentally. Like, I think this is like one of the craziest cards they've revealed, like, out of the entire expansion. I like, a big part of me, like, I actually held like a Twitter space, and like this was one of the only cards that we talked about. And the entire time I was just trying to convince myself that this card isn't a problem. And like, because I tend to get debated, I don't know. I was really being conservative during this rating. This card's fine. It's good. It's good. It's a good card. I don't think it's gonna be a 3 of. I don't think it's
Yeah,
a 3 of staple.
I don't think it's a 3 of either. Just because it. Yeah, I mean, as we said, they've already got a lot of spell shroom already. Even if the Absolver isn't a 3 of in a lot of these decks either, so it's kind
Yeah.
of filling some role to that.
I think
Yeah,
it will
I
be
am-
I think it will be a 3 of in some of these newer decks, like for example in Pantheon, they will just not run Zenith Blade anymore, and they will just like go Supercharge, and then it will be a 3 of. But in the normal decks, it won't be a 3 of. And I think in the most normal decks, you only play like a 1 of at most.
I think it makes Kaisa really sick to double draw.
Yeah.
Like,
It's a very it is a very strong trap spell for her.
It's a good trap spell. Yeah. Okay. Cool. I don't know. I think we all agree. We gave it an 8 on average, and I think that's super
nice.
solid.
And I'm gonna enjoy Nasus on 6 straight into attack.
Oh my god.
Yeah. I was.
That's my fun immediately.
I think it's gonna be pretty goofy.
Okay.
So overall, for the Kaisa full set, overall, I think Conanson gave it a 7, Nihilist gave it a 6, and I gave it a 7. So we average out at a 7, and I think that's pretty. That's decent. That's not bad. That's above average. I'm happy about that. The Kaisa package seems okay. I'll be honest. It's more boring than I was hoping for because I really, really like Kaisa. Like I was hoping Kaisa would be like a burst, like aggro carry type thing because that's like I really enjoy her play pattern in League of Legends. So I don't know. I think they did all right. She's cool. Evolve seems boring. +2/+2 is boring.
I like her design. She's an aggressive champion. She attacks. She shoots funny missiles, and that's all I care about.
I love attacking. True.
And I ultimately think this deck will be definitely tried out, but it won't be meta breaking or game breaking. I think that's fine because people complained a lot that Riot is over pushing cards like with 4-3 Poppy and like they break those cards, so you have to pick those up and play the new cards and can't play the old ones. I think they did a really good job with the last expansion. You have like a lot of any decks, a lot of different decks, but also some old decks still being around. And this Kaiser looks also fine like that. They just have like good champion, good new tier 1, tier 2 deck, but nothing that just completely wraps the game around it. Neilist, any final words for Kaiser?
No, I think you've covered it all exactly. Yeah, she's just doing what Shurima midrange wants to do, and she's seeming to do it quite well.
Nice. No, okay, let's move on to the next champion then, and that's the most confusing one, I would say. Maybe, but I think it's the most confusing one for me, at least. It's Gwen. And Gwen has the new keyword hollowed, which basically means that you get like a permanent stack for each unit that with hollowed that dies. Like if your Gwen dies, you get +1. You have like another guy over here, and you get +2. And for every one of these stacks you have, the unit on the left, when you attack, gets +X+0. So if you have like 2 hallowed units die, it gets +2+0. If you have like 5 die, it gets +5+0. And this happens on every attack. And he also has quick attack and even the hallowed keyword, and there's a special thing, attack when another ally gains power from hallowed, so do I. And you also drain 2 from the enemy nexus. So how this works is you attack with a non-Gwen unit on the left, so you want to have another unit, then the other unit gets the hollowed buffs, like +2+0, and then Gwen also gets +2+0. And then when she levels up after she dealt 10 damage, similar to Narcissus, she just also drains for each power she has. So instead of like draining 2, she drains like 5 or 6.
Crazy.
Yeah. And that's basically Gwen. By the way, quick question, is hollowed give or grant?
So hollowed is a give.
Give, okay.
But you hollow your first attacker as well. So your leftmost attacker becomes hollowed, and if it dies during that combat, it adds to the hollowed pool. And I think that's crazy.
Yeah.
Like the speed at which this keyword stacks, I think it's quite quick.
Yeah, it can definitely snowball hard.
Yeah.
Which is scary.
I really like Gwen. I love draining Nexus, you know. Doom Beast is a great card. You know, Ruinous Path is a great card.
Absolutely.
Gwen is both of those. I'm just multiple times, over and over and over. Like I want to rally Gwen. You know what I'm saying? I want scout Gwen. Like give me field promotion Gwen. Like that's going to be crazy.
No.
I don't know. Gwen is sick. I gave it a 10 out of 10 because like Gwen is sick. Conanson, you gave it a 9, and Nihilist, you gave it an 8. So on average, like we rated this card very highly. It got a 9 on average. So like, how do you? I know I love it because it's like burn. It's an aggro card. It's fast. It's crazy. How do you, Nihilist? How do you feel about it?
Yeah, she seems just very, very strong. She's got a lot of burn. She's in Shadow Isles, so she's just a very good user of Atrocity.
Oof. With Hollow, let's go.
Yeah, I mean it's a deck that wants to stack attack. So yeah, Atrocity seems a good shout. Yeah, she's good. Yeah, she's good with rallies. She's good with overwhelm. She's just got a whole bunch of ways of making her deal tons and tons of damage.
Tons of damage. Let's go.
Yeah, who doesn't like tons of damage?
I'm a freak for tons of damage. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and as she's quick attack, which it just means she's not going to die anytime soon.
Oh my god!
With a huge attack, she's just super safe.
This is the second quick attack unit in SI, right?
The 5th or so.
5th?
It's not net.
Doesn't Senna also
I thought
have
it
quick
was
attack? Yes, Senna.
Oh, I forgot.
Kindred.
Kindred. Okay. I remember. I was thinking about Kindred. I don't think there's any other.
No, it's only the champions.
I love it when champions break the rules of regions. Like the devs have said that that's like on purpose, but I really really like it. I don't know. It's crazy. It's great.
Yeah. So my approach to this card rating was like which archetype would ever beat this card. Like on turn 4, the game doesn't end yet. Even like burn decks don't win on turn 4. And if you play against an aggressive deck, they just play this card. You can block with it for 4. Then you just drain, and you can't ever outrace it because you just drain. It's a mid-range deck. You just sit there and you're like, oh my god, this is 6/4 quick attack hitting me and another guy hitting me. How can I ever deal with it? I can't just I guess you can flock it technically, but still can't just aftershock it. You can't get excited it.
She's thick.
Yeah.
Yeah, Full Health's big. It's out of
Full Health is massive.
basically every removal range, really.
And even against control decks, even if you play against control, you just have this one guy, you're Avalanche, and then you have one mana left, and you play this one guy, and he gets +5/+0, and you're just why did I waste my Avalanche?
Zoom! Yep.
So I think it's just insane against everybody. So
although I guess on the topic of control, the one thing that she is vulnerable to would be frostbites. So
especially level 2.
Especially level 2, she has the Yasuo problem.
Why did they do that to champions? Yeah, absolutely. I was thinking about the Yasuo problem because they make these effects that are tied to such a vulnerable stat. You know what I mean? And it makes it so that the level 1 is just fine.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think
it's a niche problem to have, maybe, but it's still something of note. And it's even though she might be expensive to remove, frostbites are going to do a very good job of effectively removing her, especially at level 2.
Yeah.
I think the main reason behind it is that they just secretly want to push Ashe into viability, so they just print more champions that Ashe is good against.
Yeah, copium.
But yeah, Gwen seems
all
insane.
the support she's got, yeah.
Absolutely insane. We all agree. Gwen is very, very good. Oh, I keep clicking the wrong buttons.
Gwen is sick.
I'm very excited to try her out. Funniest thing about, I think, was that they tested it with +1/+1. Herald gives +1/+1, and then it would just be League of Legends level of Gwen, where you just literally have no counterplay against her.
Okay, then nerf Bard. Hello.
Yeah, but Bard is completely different.
Make Bard a +1/+0. Bottom text.
Kill the card.
Okay,
different discussion.
Yeah. What's next? Formal invitation?
Yeah, formidable invitation. Formal invitation, not formidable. I guess you can build a formidable deck. Oh,
yeah.
Nihilist, the outliner here. Let's read it first. 3 mana bursts in Shadow Isles. Create copies in hand of 2 allied followers that have died this game.
Mm-hmm.
So you just get 2 guys back, basically a Scribe of Sorrows ×2.
Right.
And yeah, Nihilist, what do you think about this card?
Yeah, I just like card advantage.
Card advantage? Yeah. Hell yeah.
3 mana, give me +2 card advantage. And I think I can see this card going into a lot of the the Slay archetypes, which is normally having a very low to the floor curve with your all your 1s and 2 drops and that have got all their Slay effect and on kill effects, last breath effects. And so this is, I can imagine it's going to get you some cheap things that you can then spam up quite quickly. It kind of mitigates the fact that you're spending 3 mana to do nothing. Yeah, I mean, obviously the fact that it's not, you can't get champions, it isn't ideal. You much prefer it if you do that, but 3 mana to go up in card advantage, I think, is very strong.
I agree. I guess my first question would be, why would you ever run this over Stalking Shadows?
I mean, Stalking Shadow, the difference there is you've got a Stalking Shadows does have its own deck building cost. You'd have to run enough followers for it to work. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because if you ever whiff a Stalking Shadows, you just can lose games on the spot. This will never whiff, and then also it's more likely to give you what you want if you aren't going all in on it. as well.
Can't you with? Like, aren't you just gonna get like a spider half the time?
Yes, that's also my second question. Like, every Shadow Ice deck runs Vile Feast, and then you just have like a 1/1 Spiderling.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's an option, but it just depends how many things you're killing early game, and then the odds of it's I don't know. I think maybe I'm wrong on this. Maybe the fact that you can hit these really bad units makes it quite bad. But
Too random.
yeah, maybe it's that. But I just like having the extra card advantage. And
Yeah, I mean, 3 mana, get back, like, maybe if you hit the house spider, like, let's say you're in Noxus and you hit the house spider, that's hot, right? Like, you're not even mad about that, right? Getting another house spider. I was thinking about it in Viego decks, like, maybe you can get back your Hydrovine. I think that is, I think that's a consideration, but it gets it in hand, right?
Yeah,
Like, you have to
of
play
course.
this.
If you reanimate, then that would be pretty...
yeah,
Yeah.
if it was
Right. But like, I don't know. It just felt too, like, I do like value, but it felt very slow and very unreliable and it's also only followers. Like, you can't get your champions back, which is kind of too bad.
So a follow-up question, Nihilist, why would you think Sky of Sorrow is never start play? Like, it just does the same, basically, but you get a 2/3 on the board already with it.
I don't know. I think that the 2/3 is just too weak, but
Spell mana is sick.
yeah, having it up for spell mana is kind of big.
Yeah.
Because I
Interesting.
And
think
it's burst.
yeah, so you can this and then into whatever you got back as well.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I'm overrating it. Maybe it's guess the thing that it's competing against in these slots is Spirit Leech and obviously Glimpse Beyond.
Ooh.
And then maybe it doesn't get in over those cards.
Yeah,
We'll
Glimpse is
see.
kind of crazy.
Yeah. I don't know. When I was thinking about it, it was like, it's card advantage. I hit high number.
Yeah.
I gave it a pretty low grade because of all the basically 4 reasons I just asked Nihilist. I don't see this card ever being good enough if you just value a random card in your hand more than a 2/3 on the board. I don't really see that. I guess Spellman is a thing, but I don't see this card.
I think actions is bigger than spell mana as well.
Yeah, but you're not like, I guess you're wasting an action, quote unquote, by just summoning a guy here. And you can also get back champions, right? So like that this card
true.
never
It
saw
was just
any play
out.
at all doesn't make me
Never.
think this card ever breaks the format or something. But maybe it's nice value, but again, don't need value with like glimpse and stuff.
Maybe you run it. No, I don't know. I don't really like this card.
Maybe a 5 is like a fine average between us.
Yeah, it's
fine.
fine. Hyper average.
Okay, let's move on to Phantom Butler, the next 2-drop of the set, and we all agree on it. 2 mana, Shurima, 3/1, Fearsome, and Hallowed. And yeah, it's just a solid Hallowed card. 3/1. I gave it a 6, Vic gave it a 6, Nihilist gave it a 7. So, of course, you play this in every Hallowed deck. Maybe as a question, do you play this in a non-Hallowed deck? If you
I
have
would say yes. I think there's an argument that stuff like spiders would like it, potentially. I mean, I guess it's competing against Arachnid Horror, which does because it's a spider from Beast, but it's a very similar type card. And it's balanced whether you die to pings versus relevant is your extra attack button later turns. And it's, I think there's certainly things that can use it. I mean, you don't have to go massively in Hallowed to make use of Hallowed.
Yeah, I agree. I also thought about this versus Arctatorian Spiders. I think the Spider attack hurts and you also make yourself more vulnerable against removal. But
it's a hollowed card. You don't mind it dying because you just get a permanent +1.
Yeah, but at some point you don't never get in with units. Like if you play a mid-range deck, if you play Spiders as mid-range, you will eventually just have the board and you just burn them out.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind a fearsome unit onto that's not But I mean, like, why would you like? There is just no reason to play this over the Arachnoid Horror,
And my reasoning would
right?
be like a Callista, for example. If you have a Callista deck, and then you have the Callista attacking on the left side always because she's leveled up, and then he survives or revives another guy like this one. Just have her constantly being buffed up because she's naturally on the
Yeah,
left already. So maybe
that's
Callista buff.
funny. I think this card. I don't know. It's okay.
Yeah.
Like I think it's gonna be. I don't know. Is this card even gonna be ran
Probably.
after 3 weeks?
If Gwen is going to be ran as an archetype, not just like Gwen as a one-off early, like with Ilawe, for example, we just play Ilawe and 2 cards and then just play rally cards.
I feel like this card might get cut at some point, but
We will
I
have to
want it
see.
to still play. Yeah.
Let's. Good. Someone will learn how to click properly. So Ghastly Band is a token. The actual card here is Strike Up the Band. It's a 3-mana slow spell. Summon 2 Ghastly Bands. And Ghastly Band is a 1-mana 2/1 with Ephemeral and Hollowed. I gave it a 7. Nihilist and Vic gave it an 8. I gave it a 7 because I just compare this card to Onslaught of Shadows, which summons you for 2 mana to 2 ephemeral units. Is kind of worse, but also 1 mana less. This one gives you 2 better units, of course, because they are hollowed and give you these hollowed stacks. But I ultimately can't give an slow spell that summons ephemeral units a really high grade, so I was even hesitant at 7. That's my take on the card. Neelis, what do you think about it?
I think the fact that it's 3 mana for +2 to your hallowed stack is big. I think it's probably the best card for getting your hallowed stack up really quickly.
Yeah.
And I mean, just
Turbo.
just if you're just attacking on 2, pass on 1, this on turn 2, swing.
Oh, that's kind of dirty.
That's scary. And then your hallowed stack is now 2 moving forward, and then we can go from there. And I think it's just got early on. It's got a lot of very good snowball potential, and it's just is the most efficient way of getting your hallowed going. I think.
Yeah, I agree. I think I did forget about Onslaught of Shadows. I was comparing it to that Bilgewater card, and I was thinking about this in Nami Fizz Nami, or excuse me, what am I saying? TF Nami with SI. Just as a way to spend spell mana and summon units. I think Strike Up the Band is a pretty solid card. You're just I think it's like Nihilist said, it's turbo um hollowed. And I think that, it's great defensively, it's great offensively. I I think this is just I think it's gonna be like a 3 of it's just solid, very powerful, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
Okay. Next card, Conductor of the Mist. Another one that summons these ghastly bands. 3 mana in Shadow Isles, 4/2, hollowed, and Last Breath. Create a ghastly band that's the same 1 mana 2/1 ephemeral hollowed in hand. So nice, you
In
get 2
hand.
things for value. Once again, we kind of agree on it. I gave it a 6, we gave it a 6, Nihilist gave it a 7. And yeah, Vic, what do you think about this card?
I think it's solid. It's a 3 mana 4/2. Um it's a little fragile, but it's a hollowed unit. It has a last breath. You don't mind it dying. It actually might be getting in a little bit more often than normal for a 4/3 because people are going to be trying to avoid triggering that last breath. Maybe. I think a 3 mana 4/2 is a solid stat line fundamentally. Getting the Ghastly Band in hand is also very nice. You'll have it as a blocker or a hollow trigger later on. I think it's solid. I don't think it's crazy. I don't think it's a card to freak out about, but it's a decent card. I'm happy with it.
Anything you want to add?
I think it's similar to Strike Up the Band. It's just another card that's very good for getting hallowed stacks up very quickly. It dies, gives you another thing that's going to die, so it's not quite as efficiently as Strike Up the Band, but it is effectively 2 stacks, as it were.
Agreed.
Which I think is just.
I have a question. Strike Up the Band. Does that go into Hecarim? Is that a Hecarim buff?
Hecarim is not a card, so it doesn't matter.
I think he definitely likes it because a lot of the time when he attacks, he's the first unit.
Yeah.
Oh, true.
Because then he just summons the entire stack behind him. He's an overwhelm unit. He likes getting extra attack.
Yeah, Gwen Hecarim seems cool.
Yeah, but Hecarim is not a competitive card, so we don't have to discuss this here.
Yeah.
Anyways, next hollowed guy
Yes.
is the ghostly Paramour. I don't know how you pronounce that. 4 mana,
Paramour.
Paramour, I don't know. I get like 3 manas in French, so 4 mana, 3/3 with lifesteal and hollowed. And I'm the highest on it, interesting. I gave it a 7, Nihilist, and Vic gave it a 5. My main reason for this being so high is that any unit with lifesteal usually sees some kind of play ever. Even the worst ones, like if you remember, Sparklefly was like the crazy card before it got changed to 3. And now even in Bard decks, we saw the worst lifesteal card, in my opinion. I don't know how it's called, Navori.
Lifeblade.
Oh, are you talking about Lifeblade?
Yeah.
Lifeblade used to be really good. What are you talking about?
Yeah, but it was a 2/3.
Your card used to slap.
I played this like as a 2-of in like my set Bard deck. Bard was hot. Like it's still hot, but the set Bard was hot and it was really hot. Buffing this up. And I think this has the same potential with like Hollowed. You just really need the life, you put this on the left side, and you just hit with it once for like 6 or so, and you're just good to go against many aggressive strategies.
Yeah, I thought it was a extremely solid 4-drop for a region that loves to just stabilize around that turn. You know, you drop that, and you heal up all the damage that you are about to take, or that you took last turn, and you're smiling. Like, I don't know, it's a whale on a stick for 4 mana. That's cool. Kind of makes me annoyed. I hate lifesteal.
Lifesteal is
Yeah.
great.
I guess the reason I maybe didn't rate it as highly is you've obviously in this archetype you've already got Gwen, who's already representing quite a lot of healing.
True.
And then just by generically being an SI, you will have access to a decent amount of healing.
Oh, he competes with her slot.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just how necessary he is. Obviously, life's still strong, but it's whether it's as necessary given what other tools this archetype has access to.
Gotcha. Yeah, we have a lot of healing already. Do we need more?
Good point.
It's a good consideration.
Especially given the state of aggro currently.
Oh, true. You know, I actually saw this card and I was like, this is so basic. I was like, I thought we were done with just printing like 4 mana 3/3 heals. Like, I don't know. It feels very boring. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, but it's like really cheap lifesteal. So
yeah, I mean, 4 isn't cheap. Soul Hoarder.
cheaper than this.
It's cheaper than
not a
George.
card.
Okay.
All right, it's not a card. Like,
it's the cheapest lifesteal guy in Shurima, in Shadow Isles.
okay, all right.
It's a step.
Like,
Yeah.
Good
Next.
with Kaisa, gives you 2 keywords.
Mm-hmm.
True.
Absolutely. Move on.
Right,
Next card.
what's next?
Eternal Dancers. So Callista 2.0. It has Hollowed, 6 mana, 3/6, and on attack, revive an attacking ephemeral copy of the strongest dead ally other than Eternal Dancers with my power or less. So this happens probably after the Hollowed stacks, otherwise this card wouldn't make sense in the archetypes. So if you have like a lot of Hollowed, then you can bring back a bigger guy as well.
I get it now. That's the point.
But still, I don't see this card at all. I have it as a 3. Nihilist at 5, Vic at 6. And my reasoning is it's a 6-mana guy that only does something when it attacks. You can palm it, you can will it, you can vengeance it, you can sentry it, you can, like, every single deck right now has a way, you can even gravitum it. Imagine this is like a gameplay and the opponent plays a gravitum on it and just like sad for 2 turns. And I don't, like, the effect can work out, but it's just kind of a weak win condition that I don't ever see run in any real deck. Unless it's like an infinite combo, that's why I gave it a 3. I wanted to give it a 1, but maybe there's like some funny infinite combo with it that you can
I
make
don't
it
think
work.
there is. Yeah, I don't think the attack will trigger if it gets summoned by Callista, right?
No, I mean, like, you have this, and then you play like an incisive tactician in your deck, then you summon the ephemeral
there's a
copy
whole bunch of
rally
things
again.
in Noxus.
Oh, gotcha.
There's
Okay.
Tactician that will do it.
Yeah, or Tiana, I guess.
Serena will do it.
Heck yeah. I don't know. I thought it was funny. I thought that it was a card that, it has 6 HP, which isn't inconsiderable. It is a 6-mana card. I think if this was 5 mana, it would be very worth playing. Not very good, but just worth playing. I think as it is, it just can kind of pop out. Like, I don't know. I just feel like it does a lot of funny things on your attack turns, and you don't mind it as a chunky blocker. Like, I think if this gets vengeance or like any sort of removal, you're like, okay, cool, thank you. Like, you're fine with it. I don't know if that's just me, but I think this card's okay. I think it's better than like Callista.
Interesting.
I think looking at it
Yeah.
again now, I think the other thing I would say about this card, in just the generic hollow deck, the thing that is mostly going to be reviving is Gwen.
Yeah. Oh, that's a drain. Oh no, it doesn't proc the attack.
And then she does, because the hallowed effect goes off first, you don't get the secondary
Doesn't
effect
get it.
Gwen,
Yeah.
which is, I guess, just something to note, which does make reviving the Gwen a bit
Wrong instead.
notably weaker, I guess.
Wait, what if it? Wouldn't it get you the guy? Because like if this thing's attacking on the left, right? Wouldn't it get you Conductor of the Mists? 'Cause it's 4
Depends whether
attack,
you've
right?
leveled the Gwen, I guess.
Oh, true. I leveled Gwen. Yeah, that would suck if you get Gwen off of this. Like, that's not good.
But I think it still works, right? Like when usually the attack goes from left to right. So it would go to the left side, and then it would go to the right side. And like from the wording of Gwen, Gwen should never work, because if Hallowed gets on it first and the attack has to resolve for Gwen to get the power from Hallowed, then she would never get the power.
Yeah,
Right.
and also like attack triggers don't happen when you summon them attacking.
Yes, you do. They do.
Yes, they do.
They do? Like which
If you have
You
Callista
sure?
out and summon a
Am I
Gangplank
tripping?
level 2, then the Gangplank level 2 will shoot everybody.
Yeah,
Why
that was
why do I think
good
that
old
doesn't
kick
work?
control.
What
Fresh
doesn't
GP.
what doesn't work is cards like Asir with when Ella is attacked, because that happens before, or Misfortune. So
Okay.
this
Maybe
doesn't
that's what I'm
trigger.
thinking
But
about. Okay.
I think
There was
Gwen would
something that
work.
okay.
It's an interesting thing to test at the very least, because it's
I mean, that's
can be,
worthwhile then. Like, if you can get like a free
yeah,
Gwen, just pop it off. Like,
yeah.
super worth it.
It just depends whether she does get all the extra attack from the hallowed buff.
Yeah.
I still think this card is like setting you up to lose, basically, against most
it's-
decks.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fine. Maybe it'll pop. Maybe there'll be like some crazy combo with it. That's what I'm hoping for.
That's why I gave it a 3.
Yeah.
Don't think people will run it later on.
I think it's a complicated and fun card.
Yeah. Second to last here is Boisterous Host. This one is quite a simple one. 1
Crazy
mana.
card.
Why is it so high for you? 1 mana, 2/1, hollowed. That's it. In Shadow Eyes, just the 1-drop that activates your hollowed. I gave it a 7. Nihilist gave it a 9, and Vic a 10. So Vic, you say this card is format warping.
It's crazy. This card is crazy. Is there any other Shadow Isles 2/1? 1 mana 2/1? Like, I don't think so. I don't think Shadow Isles has that. That's not a real
Of
card.
course, it's a real card. Why not?
No, that's not a real card.
Why is that a real card? It's so more play than most other one drops.
Yeah, but it's like a combo piece.
You don't have to give something ephemeral if you don't want to.
I mean, I don't know. Boisterous Host, it's a 1 mana 2, like a 3/1. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like that's crazy. Like I don't know. I feel like this card is gonna see like just generic play. Like that you can put this card in spiders.
Crazy.
Okay, but that's like that's a different region.
Yeah. I see what you mean.
I don't know. I think this card's super sick. I think, you always want this on turn 1. You want to curve out with your hollowed. You want to get those stacks rolling and you want to start chipping away at your opponent. I think this is a super sick card. Like I don't think it's even like stuck in hollowed. And I don't even think that I think hollowed is just like a keyword that can just be splashed anywhere. It's like it's not one of those control F like you have to build around it keywords. You know what I'm saying? And I love keywords that are just generic and that just can do anything.
A counter argument would be that you just have so many good one drops in Shadow Isles already. Mainly the Aristocrat, which is like, in my opinion, the best one drop in the game. Therefore, this is another 1/1.
So
good
bad right
against.
now. But it doesn't have 2 attack.
But it's like a 2/2. It's better.
Yeah, I
It's bad
guess.
because there's no aggressive Shadow Isles deck, but this card is really good. And you have like the wings and the wave.
It doesn't even get played in the aggressive Shadow Isles deck. It's not in spiders.
I don't think
This is the Slay card. You know what I mean? Like the Wind Waves is like so niche, in my opinion. Like Hapless Aristocrat was super good, and I think it's like been like super out of date. But I think Host is like a very decent card.
Yeah, what do you think?
Yeah, I generally agree with everything Wick said. It's a wonder. It trades well. It's the 2/1 stat line is, as we know, very good on one drops, and then it just scales you the entire rest of the game. And I guess, yes, sure, maybe one attack to one thing every attack isn't the greatest thing ever, but it's certainly not nothing. I think it's ridiculous in the hallowed archetype itself.
Yeah.
It's just ridiculous. And then yeah, I just really like it. It's like yeah. I like my one drops that will just impact me for the entire rest of the game.
Yeah, I mean, this thing has like a Nexus effect, and that's kind of disgusting. Hollowed is a Nexus effect, and that's gross. You know what I mean? Like this isn't just like a 1 mana 2/1. It's a 1 mana 2/1 +1 for every attack that you have. Like that. Like it just has infinitesimal value.
I mean, how many attacks
Am
do you
I-
have in your normal game?
Like who cares?
5 or 6?
More than 3?
Yeah. How often does that? I see what you mean, but of course
It's
it's
a 1
better than
mana
Hollowed,
5/1.
but not a 1 mana 5/1.
It's a 1 mana 5/1. It can give you 5 damage.
Yeah, but it's like saying Teemo is a 1 mana 6/1.
It is. Teemo's yes. What do you mean? That's absolutely what Teemo is.
Okay.
I don't know. It's fine. I
It's
think
fine, yeah, it's a good card.
Rat.
Anyways, I don't think it's like going to warp the meta or anything. It's been going to be there.
No, I don't think it'll warp the meta, but it's definitely going to contribute to it.
Okay. Last card in Gwen's set is Atrocity number 2. Thread the Needle, 3 mana, fast. In Shadow Isles, kill an ally to deal damage equal to its power to an enemy. I all kind of have it as decent to okay. I have it as 6, Nihilist has it as 6, Vicky have it as an 8. Why do you think this is an 8?
I don't know. It's a combat trick, and I think I value reactivity in combat tricks very highly. I love fervor in aggro, and this is like kind of like a fervor. Like there's a lot of times where something's getting removed, and you fervor into one of their units. There's sometimes, very rarely, where you atrocity not into the Nexus and you atrocity into a unit. I think this card, because it's so cheap, it's like extremely cheap. it's a single combat, and giving Shadow Isles a single combat, I think that's like very cool. Um, and I think that's why I rated it so highly, just because I think that anytime you have a card that can just be played on the stack and can influence and interact with what your opponent's trying to do, it's gonna be very interesting. Like obviously you need something on the field for this to not be a blank card, but I think this could be at least a one or two of. Like it's very control. I've seen people say that, why would you not just run the Callista spell, the 3 mana,
Expert.
what's it called? Yeah, the Black Spear instead. And I can see that. I think the Black Spear is a little bit harder to proc, but it's like almost the same thing.
Needless, do you want to respond?
Yeah. So I mean, you bring up the situation of when someone goes to kill your thing, and then you can fire the sort of response. I think the thing is that this is an SI, and you already have probably the best reaction to removal spell.
Glimpse.
Yeah, you've already got Glimpse, and I think in terms of do you need something to still get value out of when you're targeting removal? No, you've already got Glimpse. And then the other comparison obviously is single combat. And then but there you've got a region that is in Demacia that is very set up to be all about having big stats and being able to use those stats effectively. SI not so much. There's less very large statted units you can just throw away like that. Obviously there's the Undying, yes. That can use it, but are we perhaps not the most
That's not a
competitive
card. That's not a card.
No. Not even whatever the new Targon card can save it. But yeah. Yeah, I think it's just not what it. I mean, it's a good card. It is a single combat, and there are enough things that can probably make some use of it. But I think there are just some. SI already has some good removal, and it's already got spells that it can use to kill their own units and to respond to their units dying, etc., etc.
But isn't it fun to have a card that does multiple things?
It doesn't do
Yeah.
multiple
At like a much cheaper level or cost than what we've seen before in the region. I think it's just like a tool that, like you're saying, SI already has so many tools to mitigate removal from the opponent. They have so many tools to remove things from the opponent's side. But now we have a card that does both at the same time. I don't know.
Yeah, like my first reason for this being so low is that we have like a way better version of this later on, I would say. The Evelynn card now, the Hate Spike,
Okay.
but we come to that later. Another reason would be that my opinion, I played a lot of Burn this last season, and if you ever further a unit in Burn, you just like misplay at this point. Even if they have like a Fairfolk and a Philios, you just block and then further the face, and then you have Phantom blocked it. Which you can kind of do with the Threat and Needle as well, Phantom block stuff, but then it doesn't really matter. That you kill a unit sometimes or damage a unit sometimes in the aggressive decks. You don't really care about board control if you want to just use it as a Phantom block. It's fine, but especially against like very removal heavy decks, if you play like against Field Rush, they might not even have a unit for you to ram into. Play against un-ETF, they might just have another way to kill your unit. And it's not a single combat because it like kills your ally, so you can't ever use it to just like area, kill something for cheap.
Yeah.
It's very more situational. That's why I gave it just a 6.
Yeah. I can agree that 8 might be too high.
Hey, and that concludes Gwen. So for our total Gwen ratings, maybe you can bring that up.
Yeah.
The whole package. Gwen Full Set, I gave it a 6. My final note is that Gwen is insane, but I don't really like Hollowed as the rest of the archetype. It reminds me very much of Mist Wraiths, which are an archetype where you just play big Feasum units and you just get +1/+0. Reminds me of Lurk, where you have +1/+0 on all your guys, basically. But it's all your guys, not just like one guy. And I just think that overall Hollowed will be a nice upside, but most of the time it won't matter because aggro decks will just ignore you anyways. Mid-range decks will just jump block you, and control decks will just kill your unit anyways. That's nice upside, but I don't see this being insane, and will mostly be carried by Gwen being insane, is my point of view. So, Vic, what do you think?
I think that it's going to be very, very impactful to the game. I think that Hollowed is going to be seen across many different archetypes. I think that there's going to be a lot of experimentation with the keyword and with these cards, and I think it's going to empower a lot of things that will. I don't know. I think it's just like a really cool set of cards. I don't like. I agree that Hollowed isn't really an interesting keyword. It's quite boring and one dimensional. But I think it's going to be impactful, and I think that it's going to see a lot of play, and I think that a lot of decent decks will result out of this set. Gwen is crazy. Gwen is bonkers. Gwen is too bonkers for nothing to happen.
Okay, Nihilist, final words on Gwen.
Yeah, I think the one thing that with this set of cards is that outside of Gwen, you have a big payoff for your big hallowed stuff, and I think that's maybe just the one thing. Just looking at this collection of cards that we can kind of maybe miss. There's just a whole bunch of units that can in the game that can just use a large boost to attack for just even one turn, and I think just that ability to have large amount of attack that you can give to any unit opens up a whole bunch of opportunities. They're not maybe the most exciting. It is ultimately fairly straightforward keyword, but the opportunities are there. And I know for a fact that this is what I'm playing minute one. Yeah, I'm playing Gwen Nasus, so that's my first build.
Let's go. Yeah. Shout out to Blake for this set for Gwen's set.
Yeah, it's very cool.
Yeah.
My first thing will be Kaiser for sure. I will just get the skin immediately and just slam Kaiser 24/7. But yeah, we have one more champion missing. This is your champion, Vic.
Yeah,
Let's
for
see.
sure.
Okay. Oh. Wait, you all hate her. What?
Whoa.
Oh no,
Evelynn.
what's going on? So Evelynn is quite confusing, I would say, to explain via words. So I would just say watch the trailer to see how it actually works out. Basically, she's an Runeterra champion where you have this origin, and you don't have like an actual region you can go into. You just have like a special deck building condition. And Evelynn's deck building condition is kind of just you can have her cards in every deck, which is just you may put any card that someone has into your deck during deck building, which is very similar to Bard, where she just restricts you to her support cards in your deck. And then she has quite a lot of text. 4 mana 0/5. When I'm summoned, summon a random husk. All of these husks are 0/1s with immobile and a keyword. There's 10 different ones from 10 different regions. And when you play an ally, kill me to grant it my stats and positive keywords. So this means you're
spreading around stats and these positive keywords such as quick attack, impact, overwhelm, and it's just like a way for Evelynn to generate random keywords and provide value to your other units on the board.
Yeah. Okay, and when Evelynn, when you and ally kill an allied husk, give me its positive keywords this round, and I level up. So if you kill a husk somehow, then Evelynn levels up and turns into a 5/5, and has the same keyword stealing effect, which is just a gift, so temporary. And then on round end, she would transform back. If you have not, you always summon a random husk, but if you have fewer than 6 allies, then you transform her back into the normal Evelynn. This is 0/5, so you won't have a bunch of allies dying.
Yeah.
And basically how this plays out, you have a random husk lying around, you play Evelynn, Evelynn slays the husk, gets the keyword, levels up, and then is a 4 mana 5/5 on turn 4 usually, if you have played any husk before that. And then you just attack with her and she transforms back, maybe gives you another husk, and then once you have killed enough allies, she just stays at 5/5 permanently. And I think this is really strong. I don't know why you guys disagree. I have it at an 8, and Playlist, you have it as a 3 and Vic as a 4. I'm not really sure why just someone start saying why it's bad.
Yeah. Well, what do you think is good about this card?
It's a 4-mana 5/5 that gets a bunch of random keywords. And it summons these different husks, which are really good.
And then it's a 0/5 at the end of your turn.
Yeah, but like most of the time it won't be a 0/5.
What do you mean? I mean, like during your opponent's, I guess like you level it up during your opponent's turn, right?
No,
'Cause
you just play it on 4, hit for 5.
I guess it's always a 5/5, right? Because like it's bad into open. It's not an open card, right? You can't open attack, you can't open block with it, right?
Like after 6 allies have died, which of course counts the husks, it will have the
That's
ability.
true.
So like
How fast do you think that she's like is leveled up permanently on 4?
no, not on 4, but on 6 for sure. Say.
I don't know. When I saw like the fact that like Evelyn's effect was to just build the deck with cards that summon husks, and then that all the cards that summon husks were just like summon a random husk. I was like, oh, it's just like really, really uncontrollable. Like I don't know. Like it. I don't know. The husk being random really hurts
I don't think
how
so.
strong I could rate Evelynn, in my opinion.
Like, will you select from 10 different ones, or
I don't know. Like maybe just like it. They I don't know. It would have summoned like whatever the region of the card. I don't know.
Yeah.
Um,
it's maybe
Nihil-
Nihilist first, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think I think there's just a couple of problems I have with how she is. I think she's too dependent on you having a husk turn 3 that can immediately flip her.
Okay.
I think the fact that if you don't kill a husk with her as you play her, I think that is a really that I think that puts you behind quite quickly.
Okay.
Because she is immediately coming down as a 0/5 rather than a 5/5. And that's a huge difference.
Yeah.
I think obviously there's the fact that she's only ever keeping one of these keywords permanently. Is the other thing. If she comes down, she kills something, she's only having that one keyword permanently. The rest of them are only temporary, which I think is worth noting and can mean that you end up only with one opportunity to kill with the Evelynn because of how random they can be. We'll see, but I think that's worth noting. And then obviously, because she's the Runeterra card, I'm kind of taking into account what her region is with this rating, and I think
Yeah.
it's just too narrow in what it does. And
I mean, so she's like Bard, right? Bard is stats, but Evelynn is keywords.
yeah, and it's kind of like Bard in that it's very, very narrow in what it offers, but then unlike Bard, the origin itself has no power, and it's
Right. Right. Absolutely.
you've got this very, very narrow range of what you can use as your second region, and unlike Bard, it's unlike Bard where it went all into the power, it's all gone into Evelynn, and I still don't think it's enough to
Interesting.
make the region usable over say just going to another region and getting the keywords you actually want.
Interesting. Let's maybe look at the cards first and discuss this later on, because obviously as a Runeterra champion, the cards value in a lot. But I think all of the cards are also insane, which I think you don't agree with. But we'll have to see.
We may not. It's going to be an interesting set. I mean, at the end of the day, Evelynn dropped hours ago.
Yes.
Like we have like compared to everything else that we've seen today, this is like the freshest set of cards ever. So this is gonna be like the wildest one. Okay, let's go ahead and move on. Maybe we can come back to Evelynn because like we do not agree on it.
And we of course come back like with a full Evelynn set, maybe.
True. What would you like to talk about first?
Allure would be the first one. Yeah.
Allure of Darkness. I love that card.
What?
Allure of Darkness. It's a Yu-Gi-Oh reference. My bad.
I don't get it. It's fine. Okay,
It's a very
Allure,
broken
2
card.
mana, focus,
Oh!
Demacia, summon a random husk and grant it +1/+0. Just get a 1/1, basically a focus +1/+1 random keyword if you summon another unit this turn, or you just use this husk. I gave it a 5 because I think it's the weakest card from the husk givers. Still a husk you get. Nihilist, you gave it a 1 and Big a 4. Nihilist, does this mean you don't even play this card in like Evelynn decks?
I don't think so. No, I think this might just be my bias against this whole package showing. I don't think you run this. I think
mean,
you've got enough ways of making you've basically you've got so many ways of making your husks. I don't think you need all of them.
you know
Maybe
what, though?
maybe the fact that this is a spell matters, but I'm not. Yeah, I don't. It just doesn't feel as great to me, and it doesn't feel worth 2 mana.
Yeah.
It,
I think it could have been 1.
yeah,
No,
if
it's
it was
1 is
1
super
mana,
overpowered.
I would rate too much more highly. Yeah, 2 mana, not it. And it says, and I also don't think it's the thing that Demacia wants either. Demacia has way more efficient ways of
Yeah.
buffing.
It's so weird in Demacia.
Yeah,
It is just so strange. I don't know. I also rated this card pretty lowly, but I think if we think about what you just mentioned in regards to how Evelynn coming down on curve, like you'll really need to have a husk on board, I think this kind of enables that. So where you can always have a husk on board, even at like burst speed, right? And so like let's say you try to summon a husk and it got like disrupted or killed somehow, like you can summon a husk right before summoning Evelynn. And I think that is where it would have like the most power and impact.
I can see that.
Maybe.
That makes a lot of
I just
sense.
I just don't think it's so weird. Like it's just so like why is it in Demacia? Like I don't know.
Like, I think the reason it's in the Master is because the Master is the region that summons units with spell mana the most. Like all of these remembrance and stuff. So kinda making sense, and they wanted to have cards spread out in each. And also like in the Master, spells are kind of forbidden, so maybe Evelyn's like there as well, and that's why they were reasons. But I also think that the main point of this card is just to have a husk on turn 4 when you play Evelynn and just have her immediately as a 6/6 overwhelm, 6/6 challenger, and don't have to have your opponent react to it.
A 6/5.
6/6.
Why 6/6?
Because it
Oh, do husk have +0, right? Yeah, they have 1 health.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think you're definitely playing if in an all-in Elise deck, like you have to play this, right?
All in Evelynn deck, at least, yeah.
Evelynn, yes. Yeah, not Elise.
Okay. So yeah, the next two, I don't know if you have to play, but maybe the next two will count on to. The next two cards, in my opinion, are the most interesting cards of the whole reveal. Like
Okay.
And the first one is Hate Spike, and this one will be. I really want to hear your opinions on this because I think this is the strongest card revealed by far. Even maybe I'm just like misreading something, but let's read it first. 2 mana fast. Hate Spike. Kill an ally to deal deal 2 damage to a unit and summon a random husk. Kind of similar to the other one, where you had like fling a guy into another guy. Damage will do its power. I think this card is like way better. Because its power doesn't matter, it's 2 mana, and it gives you a unit back for it.
You're right. So you gave it a 10.
Yes, I think it's the best card by far.
4. I gave it a 6. Nihilist. I don't know how to say that word. It's fine. Why do you not like this card?
So part of it is me, the classic card gamers can't read, and me thinking that this was 3 mana.
Oh goodness.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's 2
So,
mana. How do you feel
yeah.
about that?
2 mana, it's definitely not a 4.
Okay,
It,
okay. What do you think it is?
I'm putting it up as probably a 7, I think.
Wow, that's a huge.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think, it's cheap interaction. As Conan says, it's not tied to power in any way. I think this is
Slingshot.
I think early on, I think this is kind of I think this fits into the go white. Maybe I'm thinking less in the Evelynn decks here. I'm thinking more just broadly in the Shadow Rolls decks.
Okay.
But it's a cheap way of sacrificing units and kind of winning the board early. If you that's just a scenario.
Computer.
You use this
Lampe
Curse
an.
Keeper to remove the one thing that maybe could block it, and then it gets through. Suddenly, that's
Right.
big swings that you can set up with it, and
Mhm.
you've got a whole bunch of those types of scenarios early, and then you can curve into, and then you've also got the husk that can come down. There's obviously plenty of things that can use husks in those types of decks, like Nasus as your top end, or Callista or whatever you want else you're running. Maybe there.
Yeah.
So,
It's
yeah, my fundamental reason why this card is super broken is because it breaks the whole way removal works in Legends of Terror. Because before, Shadow Isles was very good at dealing 1 damage with cards like Vile Feast and Veil, or was good at dealing massive amounts of damage. Like, you have the Black Spare, dealing 4 damage. We have Vengeance killing a unit. We have like Ruination killing all units. And if you wanted to have this small effect deal 2 damage, because if you just sometimes you're in a situation where your opponent where the example would be like Illusion. You're like, what do I do against this? I can't remove this with Shadow Eyes, I just have to Vengeance it. And you just spend 6 mana on this guy. And
or you use that new the toss drain to new growth.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot this card.
But it's 3 mana. 3 mana is expensive.
Yeah.
I guess
mean,
this
three
card
mana,
saw plenty of
I
play.
think, I think for any control deck, certainly Hate Spike can't really fit in because they just haven't got the units to sacrifice.
Kill, yeah.
But yeah, I think for like control decks, Undergrid still has to be better.
I kind of agree, yes. Kind of what card existed. Maybe it's just then a 9, not a 10. But still, I think in aggressive Shadow Isles decks, it's really insane because of all the other reasons before. Like, if you play like a Nasus deck, then you just want to rush your opponent down, and they just try to deal with your stuff however you say. Or they play like a lifesteal guy, you just use this to Phantom block. I guess you can also use Glimpse for that, but you also kill a random other guy. And I think this card is really, really good because it also gives you a husk back. And I don't know how you value these husks, but I value like a husk at like 1 mana at least. Probably like 1 mana is good for what it's worth. And
for keyword.
Yeah, just that's also the stats. That's also matter.
I think it's a good card. I don't think it's crazy. I don't think it's a 10. I think 10 is. I'm surprised to see you even rate anything as a 10, but I think
I tried to use the whole scale this time.
No, I appreciate it. I don't think I gave anything a 1.
I gave like 5 cards a 1.
Oh, I definitely gave something a 1. Spoilers.
It's Evelynn. No,
but
just
yeah, I think good card. Very interesting and good for the region.
Yeah. Next, the most interesting Evelynn card, I would say, aside from Hate Spike, which is generally good. It's Domination.
Whoa.
And Domination is like I just read this before. Is not good because of Evelynn. It's like first of all, read the card 3 mana 2/1. When you summon a random husk in Shurima, and when you summon a 1-cost ally, grant it +1/+0. And the reason I gave this a 7 is not because of Evelynn, it's because of Azir Aurelia.
Oh, LOL.
And like you just have a mini Azir. It's always active.
Okay, so you gave it a 7. Nihilist gave it a 2. I gave it a 4. So you like it in Azir Aurelia, and you think it's like another level 2 Azir.
Yes.
It has 1 health, and it costs 3 mana.
So does Greenlight Duo. Yes, it costs 2 mana, but it's like a way better Greenlight Duo.
It's elusive.
Yeah, just like dies to way more stuff. And this just immediately gets you an effect if you don't immediately kill it. Like if you have like a Palm in hand, you can stop your Greenlight Duo. If you have like a Daring Poro, you can stop a Greenlight Duo. But this just like is very hard to stop for most decks.
I mean, this has immediate in value. You know what I mean? It summons a husk. It grants that husk +1.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I can't. I
And then you
7 is very high. Nihilist 2. You said
Admittedly, I didn't. The Azir Aurelia.
okay.
That did not cross my mind. So yeah,
Okay.
it's. I still think for an engine, it is too weak.
If this was a 1/2, I could see it.
As a 1/2, it's way better. But just 1 health, it just
Terrifying.
seems way too fragile.
It gets whispered like the wind blows and it dies.
Yeah, and I think the other thing, going back to the Greenblade Duo comparison, this is doing the same job as Azir is, right?
Yeah.
It's adding redundancy to Azir. Duo is giving you another win con in a board state where the Azir kind of might not work, as it were. So if you're against a wide board and like just having lots of having the whiteboard of Sand Soldiers and Blades might not necessarily get through, whereas you can have a duo which gets through as a single arrow, basically. It's fulfilling a slightly different role, whereas Domination is doing the exact same thing as Azir, the exact same mana cost, but with way, way, way more ability to disrupt it.
My counter argument is, like, first of all, you usually want to do the same thing as a deck, and I know you talk about this a lot in like when you help people with decks. You don't want to do 5 different things, but you want to do the same thing very consistently and very, very much. And the second argument against this is, even if they kill it, like whatever, you still have a 1/1 husk, then you just play like your
Evelynn.
not the Evelynn, your Aurelia. You have like a 4/3 Overwhelm Aurelia, you have like a fearsome Azir all of a sudden, you have a Regen Azir even.
You can get Spell Shield on your Azir or your Aurelia.
Yes.
That's really nasty. I hate that.
No.
And even if they kill it, like, first of all, have you ever tried killing a unit in Azir Aurelia? Like, it's not that easy. They have recoils, they have win, they have a lot of stuff to protect units.
Why'd you have to do that? Like, why did you have to make it about a deck that it wasn't meant for? Come on, dude.
Like, Riot put it in Shuri, but they could have just put it in Benesity or something. I don't, like, it's not my fault.
City. They could have put it in Battle City. True. It could. Oh my god. Okay, it's also like a little Von Yip, right?
Yeah, I definitely will play it with Van Yip and with the other card. It's another topic. But Van Yip is like my favorite card, by the way, in the game. I should probably show it because not many people know it. I used to play Van Yip with every One Yip. I used to play this card with every single 1-drop that was in Expeditions. It was my must-pick card. It's like a full archetype. I even played like One Yip, Viego, because like the mists are like 1/1s. One
Look at that 63% win rate, 41 match deck. What is this? Jagged? Let's go! I had Nagaboros. Let's go.
Yes.
Reaver's Row. Okay.
Yeah, it's like a real archetype, so it's cool.
That's a good point. Why haven't we seen One Yip anyway?
It's not a good card because it just dies and then it's up there. It's like, we just make it 3 mana, it would be fine. But...
Make it a 3 mana 2/2.
Wait, 3 mana 2/1.
3
mana 2/1, I guess. Apparently.
Yeah, and for Evelynn, it's just like +1/+0 to everything, and that's like also decent. If Evelynn is a thing.
I think it's chill. I don't think Evelynn's a thing, but I think it's chill.
Yeah. I guess the thing for Evelynn is it's your curve into Evelynn to give you a husk immediately.
It's cool. It's cool. It's great. Great curve.
Okay.
Just back. Yeah.
There you go.
What's next?
Next
Well,
is one yip, but cooler. One yip, but female. It's Solitude. 5 mana, 4/4 in PNC. When I'm summoned, summon a random husk. When you summon a 1-cost ally, granted a random keyword. Note that this can give you keywords that Evelynn usually wouldn't have. So, for example, Lifesteal or I guess Augment, Fated, and stuff like that.
Everything else that's available.
Yes, and you can have the
Cool.
perfect curve where you go 1 yip into Solitude, into Reverse Row, and then on turn 8 you can start getting your buffed up 1 Drost. If your opponent is AFK, it doesn't do anything during the time.
Awesome. Yeah, if your opponent's AFK. Exactly. Turn 8. Done nothing beforehand.
So I'm still believing in Evelynn. I gave it a 6, Vic gave it a 5, and Nihilist gave it a 3 because I don't believe in Evelynn.
I really do not believe in Evelynn.
By the way, how can you not believe in Evelynn if you're such a Tokyo Ghoul fan? I'm kinda depressed. Like one of the main characters from Tokyo Ghoul is literally Evelynn. But
That is true.
anyways,
So why don't you like this card?
Yeah, okay.
It's an engine, but it just feels like it's too slow. Again, outside of Evelynn, in a 1-cost deck, you want to be spawning early, not post turn 5. So like, this feels bad in those decks. And then within Evelynn, beyond the fact that I just generally don't believe in the Evelynn package, I think the extra keyword is probably it's significant. It increases your consistency a lot. Because you've now got 2 hits to hit your actually impactful keyword. But
Right.
again, I think it is just that bit too late.
It is turn 5. Isn't
Yeah.
this
It's turn 5, so whatever you're getting only benefits from it turn 6 plus.
Yeah,
Which is just very late on in the game.
that's true. But it's still like a 5 mana 4/5, the random keyword. And we'll stick on the board a little bit more. We have to see. And I would propose that we keep these cards, like most of these Evelynn cards are very, very similar. That we kind of keep the whole Evelynn discussion together with like the Evelynn thing in the end. And just discuss if these cards have any uses outside of Evelynn right now. Otherwise, you just say this card summons a husk, this card summons a husk, and very repetitive, I think.
I don't think this
Okay.
card sees any play outside of Evelynn.
Me neither, so we can agree and move on to the next one, which is Steem. 6 mana, Bilgewater, 6/5 with Scout. When I'm summoned, summon a random husk. And I think the most notable thing here is that if you want to play Evelynn Kaiser, which definitely in intended archetype, you now have Scout in this archetype as well because of Steem. He also curves into you. Like if you play your Kaiser on 5, you play Steem, you can second skin onto him. Get Scout, which is like the only use. I gave it a 6, Nihilist, you gave it a 2, Vic, you gave it a 4. I think again this comes down to is Evelynn a thing or not. Anything you want to add to this guy?
I think a 6 mana 5/6 with Scout is so exceptionally bad. Like it's just, I don't know, like 6 mana card that just it has Scout and 6/5. Like if you take out the other text, like it's not even. It's like an expedition card, right?
I think you underestimate like this guy, the Great Horn, saw play some decks.
Yeah, but it was like funny when you got it off of the spell.
No, like Mogwai definitely put it in some decks with like Cataclysm for
It's
rallying and
Visual
stuff.
Goblin in Scouts and stuff.
That's not a real deck. That's not a real card. That's never been a real card.
I mean, the reason this is not a card is because of like Quinn just being a better card at 5. But Mono Bilgewater, like all of the Bilgewater Scout guys have seen play over the time. Not much play, but
I think the one thing another thing that's kind of noteworthy with this card is that as it has Scout, it's a decent benefit. It's a different decent card to give keywords to,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Okay.
So
As your base.
yeah, it's already got the best keyword, as it were.
Got it. So you
So
just
if you-
roll Overwhelm onto this.
Yeah, if you hit Overwhelm or if you hit Elusive, suddenly this gets very, very, very scary.
Gotcha.
Okay, next card here in our Evelynn is a Vora, and I guess Sultur kind of the same. They are both Shadow Elves cards. One is a 2-mana 1/3 Summoner Husk, and one is a 3-mana 3/2 Summoner Husk. I think we can all agree that the 2-mana guy is better, as we can show both. Like, I gave them a 6, Niles a 2, and Vic a 3 for Vora. And for I don't know how you say this, Sultur, I gave it an
Sultur?
8. Sultur gave it an 8, Nihilist a 4, and Vic a 4 as well. Again, we have this discrepancy because I think Evelynn is like good and you don't think it's good. But
Yeah,
outside of
that's
that,
where it is.
we can all agree that Vora is way worse than Sultur, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yes.
Got this out of the way. Do you think Sultur is going to see play outside of Evelynn, mainly in comparison with Fading Icon?
It can't. It's not a fearsome block.
But it also doesn't die to pings.
That's true. But like, what does it do as a 1/3? I guess it's like the egghead, the dragon one in Depasia, the 2-mana 1/3.
I mean, 1/3 is kind of broken against some decks.
But like we've been saying, aggro is not real right now, so it's fine.
Yeah, but even if it blocks like Sauna Urchins and stuff, there's something.
That's
Yeah,
true.
Niels, what do you think?
Yeah, I think it's awkward because it depends what 3-drops you are running. I mean, that's ultimately the thing with all of these cards, right? You've got to. Whether they're playable depends on what you're curving them into, and whether the card you're curving them into is something that would like or be a good user of a husk. I think because there's a whole bunch of things where you play this, and then the next card you play is just not a great unit. It's not. It's the unit you're playing more for an on-play effect rather than it being a great unit on
Well,
the
I mean,
board.
you have a husk, right? You just curve it into domination, right? And now domination is a 2/2, and then now it doesn't have the problem of only having 1 HP.
Well, yeah, I was thinking more. I'm thinking more outside, just outside.
Oh,
of
outside. My bad.
Yeah, I mean,
Hmm.
yeah, I mean, I'm thinking Blighted Caretaker is like a pretty good example.
Oh, that is crazy, actually. Wow.
You curve that into, that's a common turn 3 play in that type of deck, and it's like, do you really want your now 2/2 with a random keyword opposed to the 2/1?
But I guess you just kill the husk with the caretaker, right?
Yeah, I guess.
Maybe like if a Merciless Hunt, but even Merciless would be like fine with like.
Oh, we reverted Merciless Hunter.
Yes!
Yeah.
Woo! Let's go.
Oh, that's terrifying.
But like, I see what you mean with it randomly killing it off, but then like you just use your husk first. Just play like a wings and whatever on it. Last win on it. Like the Shurima Shadow Ice deck.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess I just don't like cards that kind of force your sequencing, which I think the husks sort of do.
Yeah, I think the husk are all very protective keywords.
Would you then say, Nihilist, that a husk is worse than the 0/1 that a fading icon gives? Or does it just really depend?
I think it depends. The 0/1 can block, that's relevant.
Yes, that's true.
And it will stay on the board if you were to say, I mean, if you wanted to go, say you're attacking on 2, you play Fading Icon on 2, Merciless Hunter on 3, and then you've still got your fodder up for turn 4 for, say, Blighted Caretaker or something that you want to set up on the attack turn. It just seems more awkward in a situation where you don't necessarily need it to be.
I can see that. I think it's going to be better most of the time in these Shadow Ice decks. but it really will depend on how aggressive these decks will be. If they're like more mid-rangey, more stally. Like if I, for example, play Cillian and Narcissus, I might play Sultur over Fading Icon. If I play like Kindred Narcissus are very aggressive, Thresh Narcissus, I might play the other one. But I think for Thresh Narcissus especially, if you have a Thresh and give it a random keyword and 1 more health, that's really relevant against many different decks. If you have a quick attack, for example, randomly, or a Fury or something, then you can have your Thresh just survive much more tough even. How you deal with a Thresh if tough. And I think it's really close between these two, and you definitely consider playing Sultur. That's why I gave it such a high grade. I think it's the best, outside of Hate Spike, the best Tusk card I have.
Okay, yeah, I can see that.
And yeah, the last card we didn't talk about, which is just kind of Evelynn's champion spell, which you don't have a rating for, which is because it just doesn't exist outside of her, is just 4 mana fast, stop all enemy spells and skills targeting Evelynn, and she strikes an enemy. Finally, this might be the worst card to get off of the Spell Thief, because like you can literally just not play it, because Sentence Rise is the same. I found it funny. They actually printed like a version to get off Spell Thief, but it's kind of useless to get off Spell Thief. Yeah.
I think it's garbage, right?
Yeah, and you can't put this into a deck. So it's just a champion spell, it's just like part of Evelynn.
Right. I don't.
And now let's just discuss about full Evelynn. I don't think we have to discuss this card in particular, it's just part of Evelynn's kit. And now we can just discuss fully about talking about all of these support cards, why we think Evelynn is a deck or not a deck. And maybe we can preface this. Yeah, maybe we can preface this that we all have not seen it very much or played with it. I watched the review video like 7 times. Make sure to figure everything out how it works. But
more than me.
I'm really hyped about this.
Yeah, you gave it a 7. Neelis gave it a 2, and I gave it a 4. So, I mean, you expect Evelynn to be quite impactful once she is in the game. Do you think that she's going to be more impactful than Kaisa, or what's the other champion?
Gwen.
Gwen, yeah, or Gwen.
So I'm not that high on Hollowed as a keyword. So
True.
I think Gwen will individually see more play, but like not really in Hollowed decks. Maybe like full Hollowed decks. We play every Hollowed follower. That's just more as like a generally good card with like also random attack buffs. And Evelynn, we just saw with Terra champions that have generic effects that they can go like a lot of different decks with Bard, for example. And I guess Jhin was different, but Jin's pool is like very awkward because they have like no spells. They literally have no spells, I think, just have skills.
That's
and
true.
This forces you to be very aggressive. In this one, you have a very good interaction tool with Hate Spike that you can just put into your deck. Have at least a Mystic Shot, whatever you're playing.
Yeah.
Similar to Bard, if you have Cosmic Binding, which is much worse than Hate Spike, I would say. And I don't know, I think the random keywords are of similar value, and this is also not just random keywords, this is also stats. Maybe we start this discussion with husks. Would you say, like I've seen people say husk is like worth a real card. They would put this card into the deck if they could. And I kind of agree with that. I think if you could play these husks, you would definitely put them into your decks. What do you think about that?
Oh, that's crazy to me. I mean, I guess because you would be able to plan them out, and you wouldn't have to play all of the husks, so you could actually have a narrower pool when it comes to like you don't want to play like the impact husk. And there's some times where you wouldn't even want like the overwhelm husk. Like you would just go all in on like elusives, right? And then like maybe run like one like of the challengers. I think if you could play them in your deck, they would be stronger, but I think it's still wild that you would want to play these in your deck. I don't know. I don't really. I think the husks are good. Like giving +1 health is like really powerful. Like we've seen that across the board. And I guess we do see that random keywords is very strong. So +1 health plus a keyword. I guess the husks are going to be very valuable. I get that's why they had to. They must be powerful, or that's why they gated it behind generators, right?
And keep in mind it doesn't have to stay the 0/1. If you just play like a Check a Taskmaster, for example, is a card that exists in the game.
Yeah,
It just gives all of your units +1/+1 instead. Or even like 1 Yip, which
that's
is
actually
pretty copium,
yeah.
but there are
That's
ways to
interesting.
make this way stronger than just 1 health. And
Yeah.
there are plenty of ways. Like even if you just play, I don't know, a Yordle Captain with it or something,
Ooh,
then all of
yeah.
your
I'm so
Yordles.
sick.
Nice. What do you think? Would you put Husks into your deck, or are they worth a full card?
I think it's ultimately you'd put specific ones in because you want access to a specific keyword.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's just my general outlook on Evelynn's archetype as a whole. Because this is taking your second region, right?
Mm-hmm.
And just looking at it now, I struggle to see where you'd play this second region over instead running a different second region that's going to offer you the keywords you actually want every single time, as well as a whole bunch of other extra tools by just having a deeper card book. I think that's just generally where I stand on it. That's why that's why I'm rating this archetype quite so low, I think.
The main argument for me would be to just get a 4-mana 5/5 or 5/6 usually. And like with Bard, usually are not happy to draw Bard. It's like a dead card in many decks. Just rather not draw it ever. With Evelynn, you're just like actively happy to draw her because it's just like broken on turn 4. And most decks can't really deal with her ever in turn 4. And she just gets free value, 3 more stats. And I think this is a real upside, just a 4-mana 5/6 usually. With a random keyword permanently, and then you get more keywords, and it is a really powerful engine.
I'd say my kind of counterpoint to that is Bard, you aren't happy to draw, but you're running it because he gives you a whole bunch of extra benefits elsewhere. Evelynn, you're happy to draw because she's almost the reason why you're running her region. Right? She's the big payoff more than anything else. So it's almost, if you don't draw Evelynn, you're in real trouble because you haven't hit your major payoff.
Don't you just have a swarm with random keywords though at that point?
Yeah, especially if like use with for these Allure cards, or with these Husks, if you guys like have, I don't know, self-slay cards like Glimpse or something to make other use of those.
Yeah. I don't know. I think too much of the powers level is put into Evelynn, and it means that you don't fight her. The rest of the cards kind of.
We just run and treat, no problem.
Another thing I want to mention is with the keywords, you don't have a real bad one. I guess Imprint is the worst one, but usually if you are Victor, for example, you really don't want to hit Faded, you want to hit Augment, I guess, and other ones. There is no real bad one here. Like the worst one is Impact.
Yeah, I think they're all sick. There's no lifesteal though, right?
No lifesteal, that's the worst one, but the worst one to not have, but you have like, I guess it's just like a code.
Regen is okay, I guess.
Regen is very good on Evelynn.
Yeah.
5/6
Only
regen.
on Evelynn though. But the thing is, like, you don't get
there's some that wouldn't take regen or fury.
Yeah. Like it sucks. Like let's say you get like a fury thing, you're like, okay, now I can't summon my 1-drop. Like, or I can't summon my unit that has 1 health. You know what I mean? It's gonna force you to play differently. Oh, I guess you get +1 health off of it, but I don't know. It just feels like
2 health is like not great for fury or regen.
Yeah, I don't know. It just feels like the random keywords will make you misplay more often.
Well, we'll see. I'm just saying. Last time I gave Bard an 8, while most others gave it like a 4 or 5, and I was right. Just say. We will have to see.
See, that's what we needed. We needed to have done the review. Yeah, we need to do those again.
Yeah, in the future.
Yeah. Okay. I think we can go on to the random cards now.
Yes, there's quite a bunch of random support cards, and those are really interesting as well. And the first one will be Starhound Pack, 4-mana Targon, 2/5, faded. And my faded buffs are granted to allied Starhound Packs everywhere. So the second one we play will be a little bit bigger with faded. And we have quite a different rating here. I gave it a 7, Nils gave it a 3, and Vic gave it a 1.
I think it's garbage. Go ahead.
I just want to say my reason for it giving a 7 is completely ignoring the text it has. It's just like the third faded unit that's ever printed, and that is valuable for some decks. For consistency reasons.
Okay. So you're looking at it as like a 4 mana, 2/5 faded unit.
Yes.
5 health is a lot. I'll give you that. I don't think this card ever sees any play.
If Pantheon is a thing, I'm going to bring this to Season Nils. Take my word.
Yeah, I think part of why it's not looking great, I think it's just because of how Fated in general isn't necessarily in a great spot.
Huh.
I think that has to be a relevant factor. But yeah, I mean, I guess its stats aren't awful as a base to start buffing Fated off of. But you almost need to hit the second one for it to be. You've got to hit 2 of them for it to be worth it. And yeah, I don't know how consistently you do that.
I don't even know if you run 2, to be honest. Literally just see it as another copy of faded cards, but just not these Equad Rose and Pantheon where you just lose to yourself because you're not more faded unit. Like Pantheon literally played like Broadwing and random cards just to have units to play on curve. Not like brick completely.
Okay.
I guess what you're viewing this as a 4th Wounded White Flame, basically.
Yes,
Yeah.
just another faded guy.
Okay.
Fair enough.
I can see that. I can see that, but I don't know.
Yeah. It's going to depend heavily on if Pantheon is a deck again or not. Supercharge and stuff. Okay.
I guess so. Yeah.
Windswept Hillock is next, and this one's one of the most exciting cards. It's a Yasuo boat. 5 mana Ionia landmark.
Oh wait, no, sorry, spoilers.
No, spoilers.
I know.
Wait, what? Sorry.
What? Stop.
Wait, what?
All right. I know, right?
Oh no.
Okay,
so,
Windswept Hillock. All right, landmark. 5 mana Ionia. Do nothing. Anyways, go ahead, Conan.
when I'm summoned, draw a Yasuo and stun the strongest enemy. Immediate impact. When you gain the attack token, stun the strongest enemy. This is insane.
Opium.
No.
That's. You know what, Conan? I'm gonna make my EMEA account and I'm gonna play against you in the tournaments, and I hope you play this card against me every time.
Okay, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to play this card, and I'm not even going to play Yasuo against. That's so
That's
fair.
based. That's actually extremely based.
I think
when
this
you put
card
it
is
that
so
way.
good that you don't even
Just
need
on its
Yasuo.
own. You just like the second line of text.
Yes.
Oh, I mean, like the burst stun is actually pretty pog, but it's 5 mana.
Yeah, like of course it's better with Yasuo. Like no kidding. But
No, it's still bad.
so for context, if you just listen and don't watch the screen, I gave it an 8. Nelis gave it a 5, and Vicky gave it a 2. And
Yeah.
Vic, you don't play Power of Champions at all, right?
Oh my! I do not. No, I don't play Path of Champions. Is this the Path of Champions card?
No, because we literally made a
Okay.
Power of Champions rating, and
Uh-huh.
the highest rated power that was not like crazy busted legendary or whatever, the highest rated normal power was round start stun the strongest enemy. This was the strongest
It's
effect
round
in the
start.
game. Yes, but
It's
it's
round
basically round
No,
start.
because it's no the Path of Champions power is sick because it stops your opponent from killing you too.
Yes, but you do it yourself. Like you just have stun in your deck.
Sure, but like you have to spend a card now on your defensive turns for this card. Like if this stunned on like just round start, like and like the Minotaur isn't even good. You know
but
what I'm
Minotaur
saying?
is like a unit.
It's a 6/5.
It's a unit. It dies.
It's huge.
It dies.
It's a 6/6. It's massive.
It dies to unit removal. This doesn't ever die.
And this only does stuff on every other turn.
When you play it, and then whenever you get an attack token. You rally, for example, if you have scouts.
You're playing this
God.
scout? Oh wait, sorry. I'm sorry. Against no. Okay, I'm sorry. If you play this against me and I'm on scouts, I'm so excited. Like you spent 5 mana to do like stun one of my units. I have a board of 6 units.
No, I'm going to
Anyway.
play this against you again with Scards.
I'm excited. I'm excited to win. I love winning.
Needless, let's hear your opinion in between.
You're right.
Yeah, no, I think it's obviously up to Yasuo decks. Does this make them viable? Probably not, but it does add some consistency because while he's still basically the only relevant payoff, you've now got ostensibly more copies of him. So yeah, there we go. That's the Yasuo conversation out of the way. I think the fact that it only stands on your attack turn is significant. Standing on your defense turns is just way, way, way stronger. So the fact that it,
like,
yeah, the fact that it doesn't do that makes it go down a lot in my eyes. But I don't know. It does some funny things with Katarina though, so I will try them out.
Another point is it's a landmark for Malphite, so it's kind of nice. I just really like the design of it as well. And I think Yasuo will be a thing. Even like, Yasuo is not a bad card, but the problem was that the rest of the deck was bad. So maybe it does make it a little better. Okay, interesting.
I think it's garbage.
I'm going to beat you with it.
I look forward to it.
I have 3 epic wild cards and 2 champion. I spent my champion card, but I will have some.
I will literally spend $200 on my EMEA account, dump money into it, and then smack you with it. It's fine.
We will upload this to my channel and
yeah,
we'll be glorious.
No, dude, it's crazy. Okay, you're just gonna participate. Okay, we're gonna make the Gamers Gaming League for EMEA for ABG, and then like I'm gonna smack you every other week. You know what I'm saying? Like it's great. It's gonna be sick. Like I smacked Jello. Like I've smacked a couple people.
I'm just saying, so I've made Chase Chen work and went 4-0 against ABG. So
God. You're playing against Rack
and against Leah.
And against 05. I guess that's true. If you can beat 05, you can beat anybody. Yeah,
05
that's
just,
true.
It's a lot of this discussion. It's more back to the cards.
Okay. What's next?
Lord Eldred Mageseeker.
All right, another garbage card. All right,
yeah,
bad.
That's very garbage. Let's just read it quickly. 8 mana, 8/8, tough. Other allies and your nexus have tough. It's in Demacia. It will never see the light of day because it's an 8 mana guy. Basically, I like how it's like married to Tiana. It's also like an 8 mana, 8/8 tough or something.
Oh, that's cute. Is that her? Oh, okay.
So anything you want to say about it, except it's way too slow and will never see play?
I don't never see play because I hate tough nexus.
Yeah,
yo, you can play this in Lysandra, dude. It levels up Lysandra. Now you can have double.
Oh my god! And it's like -2 then, right?
Pogger champ. Anyways, fucking bad card. Anyways. I mean, is it funny in timelines?
Oh, yeah, I guess, but we don't do these ratings for like created cards, so matter.
No. Well, we don't think about these cards in the context of the pools that they contribute to, because you have to think about how it's going to impact the game. I guess it's not. No, that's too niche. You're right.
Yeah, but like then you have to like really discuss a lot of stuff, like how does it impact the game that Lysandra Talia can hit Windswept Hillock off of Stone Weaving and stun your unit on a key turn or something like that.
Dude, that's poggers.
Gets really insane really quickly.
It's gonna win seasonals, okay?
Nice. Another card definitely will win seasonals is Trifarian Training Pits, and that's when they will buff Katarina to 5 attack. So whenever you attack with Katarina, you rally.
True. I'll take it.
Yes.
So what this does is 4 mana Noxus landmark. Each round, the first time an ally with 5+ power attacks rally. And technically, this can work on multiple copies, but then if you have like you play one and then you play a second one and you can rally again, but
that's whack.
Weird. And I gave it a 3. You gave it a 4, and you gave it a 6, Vic. So it's garbage.
I like it. No, what are you talking about? Okay. This card will literally not see play for a year. All right.
Okay.
This card will be super sick one day.
Uh-huh.
One day. That's the day that reputation is good. All right, it's not today, it's not tomorrow, it's not next month, it's maybe next year.
Uh,
This card's gonna be good. I believe.
when you have
It's
the Rex
trash.
Rager, the 5/2 definitely summon me, and it's good.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know.
Alice,
I
anything
think we
to
could.
add on this
I don't
one?
know. It seems an okay thing to run as a one of in something like Reputation or maybe Ash Noxus, but they're tight on cards, and this is a very low tempo play,
Yeah.
and you're contesting probably the most important cards in either of those decks as well.
Yep. Yep.
So
Very tight slot.
and it is. And if I thought Katarina was an awful double draw, this is cataclysmically bad.
And not in a good way with Cataclysm, but it's just that awful.
No.
Cataclysm is a fucking great card.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that card.
And that's also my problem if you like make this your win condition. At least if you like make Grey Apothecary your win condition, multiple do stuff. But if you make this your win
It's
condition,
true.
you just
You
like
therefore cards
nothing.
with double fuck theory.
If this was 2 mana, it'd be a fantastic landmark.
Yeah.
But
But
there's 2 mana.
the first requirement would
Because
be that Reputation would be see play, but it won't see play with this card, so probably
Well,
won't see play ever.
if it's 2 mana, right? It
But
curves
it's
into
not 2
LeBlanc.
mana, it's
That's
fine.
sick.
It's not 2 mana
I know.
big. Stop hallucinating.
I know, right?
Next card, Wildclaw's Ferocity. If you start with 2 mana,
all
if
right.
Windswept
You're
Hillock would be 2
smoking.
mana, it would be insane. Yeah.
Anyway.
Not really a bad argumentation.
Right. Wildclaw's Ferocity, 6 mana focus speed spell in Freljord that says transform an allied follower into an alpha Wildclaw, which is the 7 mana 7/6 overwhelm.
Yes.
Is that correct? Nice. Garbage card. You guys
Insane
are smoke
card.
crack. You guys are on. So Conan said you gave it a 7. Nihilist, you gave it a 6, and I gave it a 2 because I think it's bad. All right, you guys have to convince me now.
So before we discuss, we don't take into account that you can generate this off of Pharaohs.
Oh my gosh!
And
it turns itself into a Wildclaw. That's actually kind of crazy.
Yes, and also this card heals itself. Like there was some discussion before. So if you just put it on a unit, it just turns it into 6/7/6, and it keeps any buffs it has randomly.
Ooh, that's hot.
Yeah. So
Anyways,
what do you think about this? Why is it good?
I like it because it lets your weak units scale into the later game, basically. Because obviously you need units that are going to contest the early game, but then once you're out of the early game, those units don't contest anymore. So
yeah,
but Alpha Wildclaw will contest in the later game, and yeah, I like the ability to turn your 1 and 2 drops later game into a giant overwhelm
yeah.
unit.
Omen Hawk.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know necessarily.
So expensive.
Yeah, I think that's the one thing that holds it back, but ultimately that's the cost of an Alpha Wildclaw, so.
Yeah.
And it's
And
on
it's
spell
mana, right?
Yeah.
So you can technically pop something out on 4.
Like
3
technically,
was the earliest.
3 is the earliest. Yes.
There's no way. But then how do you summon something?
Yeah,
Aura
like
Cannon, Compass.
Eager
Yeah, okay.
Apprentice, Forge Chief.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So we have to be in PZ.
Yeah. Then you have the 6 Chase Value where you transform it into a Wildclaw twice.
Yeah.
Twice. That's crazy.
It's more than once.
That's yeah.
You do that turn
I
3 and
don't
then turn 5
know.
with Battle Fury.
I don't think that you can turn 3 this. Like, there's no way.
No.
Not really. It's more like a late game card for like you have an Omen Hawk lying around and you can just make this into an overwhelm threat. I think that's the biggest difference between Battle Fury, because Battle Fury is of course stronger if you have an overwhelm unit. If you just have no overwhelm units, then just a random unit, then you just play this instead, and then you have like 7/6 instead.
It is interesting.
Although obviously the fact that Battle Fury is reactive is kind of big.
It's huge. Burst is huge.
Especially in those overwhelm decks where it's like, well, we're going to present lethal, and then we're going to make you commit the thing that stops the lethal, and then we'll Battle Fury to
we're
make
going
sure
to
you're
commit
extra
lethal
dead.
again. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's not as good as Battle Fury. Fundamentally, I think it's expensive, but I mean, like, and conditional. Like, you have to have a unit on board. Like, it's 6 mana. Like, I don't know. I would have rather had this been like imagine if that was burst and like 7 mana.
Broken.
No, that's disgusting.
Yeah, that doesn't sound okay.
Because being able to transform something in the field like during an attack is hot. And and it's the same. Then yeah. It's the same.
And
I
it
think
would
his card
be
is not. I don't know. It's too.
with burst. It would be the same problem with Hexagon Smogulator, that if you transform a unit, it just gets unblocked randomly. I think it's like a bug happening, but I didn't bother fixing it yet.
Interesting. Okay.
So like an unblocked. I guess it doesn't matter with Overwhelm, but
Yeah.
I
don't
think we
know.
will see
I don't
players
think
one
this-
off or two off, but
Okay. I guess maybe Freljord is just too weak.
that could be a reason.
Yeah, that sounds great, to be honest.
Yeah.
Okay,
I think that's
next
like a huge
card.
one.
Solari
What's up?
Stellacorn, best card of the set. They should have made it a champion, but it's so good. It's a 5 mana 4/6. Like, can you believe it? It literally power grips the other Stellacorn, which is just a. I guess it's also a 5/6 now. Got buffed. No, wait, it's a 5/6 now. No. It used to be a 4/5.
It's a reputation. It's a reputation proper now.
Yeah. And Solari Stellacorn, instead of healing your Nexus and one ally, it heals all your allies for 3. And we all have given it the lowest rating, despite Nihilist not giving it a 1. Why did you not give it a 1, Nihilist?
I don't know. I was thinking
don't know.
about it. It's I don't know why, but I was thinking about it in Tom Soraka as an option, just as like as
That's
a
really
one-off.
fun. You could win with that, right?
Yeah, that's kind of because it's doing a similar thing almost to Wish, like the double
Yeah.
draw Soraka into a Wish heals
it's
your whole board
faster.
with the big.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like
It's not disputable or not disruptable.
yeah,
Yeah,
I don't know.
I think that's funny. Like
I think
as,
that's
a
like the
finisher.
only time that this is remotely considerable, and it's probably only ever a one-off if you're considering it. But it's
Sure. And Tom Soraka is not a deck right now
well, yeah, exactly.
at all. Yeah.
And Wicked Eye just gave it a 1, by the way.
Yeah. I think it's garbage.
Yeah.
I know that was kind of the one idea I had with where it could go that might make it not utterly unplayable, but yeah,
I
it's
think that's
bad.
considerable. Yeah, that's considerable. That's a funny moment to think about.
Yeah.
Maybe as a side note, if you're just watching this and think like, why can it be so bad to heal your Nexus for 3? It doesn't heal your Nexus. It just heals your
Nope.
allies. Like
Yep.
worse than you think. Next card. Probably the worst card here revealed. Captive Yeti is the next card. Not. Wait, what? I'm confused by us being so confused about this. Captive Yeti is a 6 mana 5/5 Yeti. Surprise. It Noxus. Real surprise. It has Overwhelm and Reputation. I cost 3. Continuing the trend of captured animals, we have now a Yeti, which caused quite a lot of lore discussions about why Noxians have Yetis captured, while Freljordians think it's a myth. But different discussion. I gave it a 5, Nihilist gave it a 7, Vic a 3. Let's start with Nihilist. Why do you think it's good?
I know I like Ash Noxus as a deck. I have a
Agreed.
soft spot for it.
Same.
And I think this is just a kind of really good fit for that deck. One of the things it struggles with, in my opinion, is just that it has no evasion. It has big beat sticks that will get jump blocked forever.
Right.
And that's one of the issues. Now you have an Overwhelm unit that can threaten them to end games.
That's true. And you can double it with a Wonk.
Yeah. Yeah, there's that as well. And it's a very good user of all of your the Hearthguard buffs and all of that. And then the other thing that I think it almost enables is that we've almost got the critical mass of Yetis for Ash LeBlanc to go more into that package.
And it has been.
The big,
It feels like.
yeah, and I think that's also noteworthy because the Yeti package can be very explosive.
It can be, yes.
And I think
with A-Bomb.
Yeah, well, with A-Bomb and with Tall Tales as well.
Yeah.
Like Tall Tales is just a really, really solid card.
So just like increasing the population of Yetis in your deck to enable these cards more often.
Yeah, that's basically kind of where my head was at. I don't know. I think it seems solid. 7 might be a bit high, but
It's slow.
Yeah, I
Is
think.
it?
Yeah, it's a bit slow. I think it does depend on when you're enabling reputation, which is normally like turn 5, I think, in that deck. So
Okay. I mean, that's
not
pretty fast, in my opinion. But I think I don't know.
yeah, it's turn 5 or 6.
I think it's also too expensive a little bit and doesn't really solve the problems. Like you said with Overwhelm, it's like nice to have Overwhelm, but you have the Ancient Yeti as well. I guess it's another card.
It's just a second one.
Second one, yes, for sure.
Yeah.
Like the 7 mana count. But like it doesn't really like you can say you punch through the board with it with Overwhelm, but yeah, I don't consider Ashley Bonk a real deck right now. There's like a niche counter deck to decks that really lose to Frostbite. But I recently just played against it with Ari Bard and just hit them with elusives while homecoming all of the guys over and over.
Yeah.
And but this doesn't help it.
I just want the deck to have some love, basically.
And it's getting it, I think, recently.
Yeah.
Speaking of Ash LeBlanc.
Next card, you mean? Cracking Ice.
Yeah. Yeah.
1 mana burst. Wait, what?
Just keep reading the card.
I get so confused by these ratings, but 1 mana burst and Freljord, grant an enemy frostbite me at the next round start. So 1 mana delay frostbite the next round start. I gave it a 1, Vic gave it a 1, Nihilist gave it a 6. Bye.
Yeah. I think my Ash LeBlanc copium is showing here. Just a tad. No,
a little bit.
I think it's got some interesting applications. I think one of the things that it's good for is it's just extra money you don't have to spend on your. So often, one of the things you set up in that deck is your big frostbite the whole board into level dash into you OTK.
Okay.
Right?
Okay. Yeah.
This is now money you don't have to spend on that kill turn, right?
True.
And if you're using harsh winds, which you normally are, you often get
expensive.
Yeah, it's expensive. You can get tight on that. So it's relevant in that regard, which I like.
It stops it when it opens, but I mean, so does flash freeze.
It also opens, which lets you then get off reckoning.
Oh.
Because often, like, you lose. Reckoning is a very strong card, and it's like the reason the deck can really be relevant, I think. But you just beat it by open attacking on the relevant turn. Here, you deprive them of their big unit with the frostbite, force them to develop, and then get to use your reckoning.
Right. Yep.
I think it's got like the fact that you're having to proactively freeze isn't great, but I think it has some potential in how it can impact the later turns by the fact that you're not spending mana on the second turn or forcing your opponent to do things.
But would you run this ever over Brittle Steel, for example?
No, because they're filling different roles.
Yeah. I think this low is just like very, very slow and predicted, and give up a whole card for this effect, which is very tiny. It's true if you have this whole board's overwhelm turn set up, then it works, but otherwise it's just a dead card almost. Stop an Ari open attack with it. Feels weird to me.
I mean, I guess it is just like 2 mana less than. It saves you 2 mana. It saves you 2 mana. Like, I mean, like when you're playing your freezes out, like you already know what you're freezing. So I guess like just playing the. I don't know. Like, it's weird that it's burst speed to me, but I understand why it's burst speed. I feel like it could have just been focus. Like, does it matter that it's burst? No, but I'm just like I was thinking about like the spell speed on this thing. I was like, it doesn't matter that it's burst.
You cast it in combat and I forget about it.
As I was like, this could have been a 0 mana slow spell.
No. Why would you make it worse?
But like, it doesn't make it worse. It's free.
Yeah, no, 0 mana slow I think would make it better. The only like situation where it's worse is like with Ezreal.
With what?
With Ezreal.
But burst speed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
1 mana plus burn card.
I think like
But,
what I don't like about this card is the main reason that frostbites are used in most decks is like to react to strike spells, to react to a lethal attack. It's the usual. If you develop, then I play Avalanche or Ruination. If you open attack, I
Yeah.
play Freezes and Veil. This card just
It-
good, just very specific
just-
for a finishing turn.
Yeah, it's not. It's niche in its application, in my opinion. It's not reactive, and that, like you were saying, is what Frostbite is typically very good at. But I think it's a finisher. I think it's a finisher. I think if you look at it like a 1 mana finisher that enables your combos a little bit more effectively, I think that's where it gains merit,
Yeah.
and I think that's valid.
Yeah,
But I do
probably
think
not.
it is your copium a little bit.
Oh yeah, it's definitely not a 6.
Speaking of frostbites, another one. Frozen in Fear, slow, frostbite an enemy,
Gosh.
summon a Ransom Pack, granted +1/+1 for each time you frostbitten an enemies this game. Note that this levels up your Bard, so if you play Ash Bard. And the
Oh,
Ransom Pack is
yeah.
just like a 1/1, right?
It's a 1/1 overwhelm.
Overwhelm,
Yeah.
okay. I gave it a 3, Nellis gave it a 5, Vic a 1. I think this comes down to the same argument of is Ash a real deck? Vic, you say Ash will not be a real deck. And Nellis, you like Ash a lot, and I'm like in the middle. This card can see play. I think my biggest comparison with it would be Icevale Archer, which is another unit that frostbites something. But the reason Icevale Archer is better is because it circumvents frostbite. Circumvents Spell Shield.
Yeah.
And this card doesn't do that, that's why I like it way less.
Yeah. Although it still has, in a lot of scenarios, it is still the kind of like the 2-for-1 development punisher. It's the
That's true.
you get rid of one unit's attack, so it can't really attack, and then you've got a unit, and then this then scales a bit better into the game.
You know what? I think that is interesting. It does provide Freljord with a spell mana unit. I don't think we have that many for Freljord, so it is interesting now.
And yeah, actually the point you make is really good in the list. Like it's similar to Arcane Sentry kind of in a way.
Yeah, it's. I mean, in all the time that I've played Sedge Swain, Icevale Archer has commonly been like 4th century in my mind. Because it's I'm going to play this. It comes down. It stops this thing from attacking, and it's now a unit that can block.
Yeah.
This is kind of doing that, but instead of it being good early game, it's better late game.
Okay.
And I would say it's also like worse late game because if you like deny it or something, then you just lose the unit as well.
I think in the average game, there are obviously situations where it's going to be worse.
Yeah. The card art is weird. Feels off-brand.
Okay. But this is a really good point with the double summon. Like how many frostbites do you think you need to just be not feeling bad? Maybe if it makes like a 4, like in baseline it makes a 2/2, right?
It should have been it should have been focused. This being slow doesn't make any sense. I don't know. Slow speed frostbite seems so garbage.
You mean Shadow is like literally.
Did you just say Shatter is broken?
Didn't a slow speed frostbite win seasonals or something?
Oh, you're trolling. You're trolling. Holy moly.
Anyways, next card is one of the interesting ones. 3 mana Targon in Burst. Mikhail's Blessing. This is one of the hardest ones to rate, I think. Grant an ally +1/+2 and remove all negative keywords from it. What this does is, for example, if your guy was silenced.
Wait, where is it? Oh, there it is. Sorry.
If your guy was silenced and then you undo the silence and it just turns back into a real guy, if your guy was quicksanded, your guy was frostbitten, and of course you can do some meme stuff where you remove ephemeral or something like that, but that's not really the purpose of the card. I think the purpose is mainly anti-silence. You play like Pantheon, they quicksand your guy, and then you Mikhail's Blessing in response and still kill them.
I love rock, paper, scissors.
Yes, it's rock, paper, clock.
True.
Yeah, that's why they really Gwen. We now have all 3.
Oh.
That's true.
So, Cronus and Nihilist, you guys both gave it an 8, while I gave it a 5. Um, you guys really think it's that strong? I think it's solid. I think it's very niche, but it's like almost like Spell Shield in my head.
I think it's better than Spell Shield
Plus,
versus Directive.
+1/+2. Well, Spell Shield is reactive.
No, but like they stun your guide and you Mikael's Blessing and attack.
Can you cleanse a Minimorph?
No.
No.
Darn. If this could undo Minimorph, it would be
Yeah, but like
very
Minimorph
good.
is not seeing play at all right now.
But I'm just saying, fundamentally, as like when you get your unit transformed, can you undo that? So,
Just play Evelynn and it transforms back for you.
oh
None
my
of it.
gosh, bad cards. I don't know. I don't think it's as crazy as you guys are implying, but I do think it's a very powerful card.
Yeah. Nihilist, what do you think its main purpose is?
I think it's just a very strong combo protector. Like you go in on your unit, and then you essentially hold up. You've either got a bastion or you've got this,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then they go to kill it. You then can bastion to stop their removal. If they go for a hush or a quicksand or a frostbite or whatever, then you've got this instead. And it's like, and I guess the argument is that make it a bit lower is: are you meant to just preemptively spell shield and then beat the hush or the quicksand or the freeze anyway? But I think that might be the argument why it might be weaker.
Mm.
But yeah, I think it's just primarily a way of protecting the combo going terms in those more
Yeah.
combo decks.
Yeah.
But definitely a strong one to consider for some decks, and also I will definitely build a Husk deck with it. Evelynn. Just cleanse the immobile from my Husk and then beat someone to death with it.
Hecker yes, dude.
One of my first decks to build.
You gotta Mikhail's blessing the kegs, man.
I was like, I'm going to play Tarek and then pass the blessing on to my Husk, but it doesn't work because it can't attack. Yeah.
You cannot do that.
No. Anyways, it's not for the
You can
competitive
silence
section.
your husk, then attack, and then the blessing cleanses the husk. You know what I'm
No, but then
saying?
the silence comes, makes the immobile come back, and then does it get pushed back?
No, because you
Easily.
cleansed it. It's blessed.
Yeah, but like the silence removed the mobile. If you remove the silence, the mobile comes back.
But doesn't the no? But the negative keywords also get cleansed.
Yeah, but if it's not there, it's like silenced.
Both of them, because okay, so they mentioned this about how like this card creates like a pocket dimension of like silence units. The silence is a negative, but like if it's like ephemeral, that's also a negative, and so this one cleanses all of it.
Yeah, complicated.
It is, yeah. But I saw Dev. I'll look for the tweet, but I did see Dev confirmation that it was a funky little card for them to make.
Interesting. Yeah, I read this post, but I didn't fully read it. Anyways, so next card, Scavenged Camocloaker. One of my cards I definitely want to try out in Chase Shen, but I still gave it a very bad rating. Wait, do you like it? Okay, first of all, 3 bursts, PNC, grant an ally, elusive, and Nexus Strike, draw 1.
Yeah.
Why do you like it?
It's a funky little card. What do you mean? It's a little silly. Neelis, why do you like it?
I know I like it because there's a lot of decks that like giving things elusive, especially in PNC, and I think with how they play for a somewhat combo-y game plan. So it's like being able to pre-commit some of the stuff not on your combo turn helps, I think. And then being able to almost turn it into a cycle as well early game is useful. Because I think that's the type of deck that's going to run it, and the fact that it is both can be a finisher and then an early game cycle, having the dual utility seems nice.
My counterpoint would be it's not guaranteed an early game cycle, because if you just kill your unit in response, then you got nothing out of it. It's also a counterpoint against the elusive thing. Like if you just kill a unit, you got
Well-
nothing out of it.
Well,
It's
you
just
got a
like
trade out of it, right? You got a card.
yeah, but like you have to kill it before you hit.
No.
Yeah.
You force your opponent to play a card. That's a trade. I don't know.
Yeah, but they kill your unit.
Although
and
one you're normally losing,
Yeah, I guess.
because then that's your finisher, and you've probably
Oh,
invested more mana than they're using to kill
no.
the thing.
No, we were talking about early game.
yeah, but early game, if you're like
No, I mean the finisher would be your elusive thing.
Yeah. No, but we were talking about early game. If it can cycle you a card early, if it gets removed, you waste 3 mana. But I'm like, well, they're removing something.
yeah, but
spending-
like
I guess like you're losing 2 cards to 1
yes.
fundamentally. That's true.
Like if I have a boom baboon, you have a boom baboon, and you are like, I want to cycle this, and I mystic shot your guy, then you're just sad.
Yeah, that's true.
And I like the obvious comparison would be like with Ghost, which is like 1 mana, very easy to set up, but only gives, and then some work map in the same, or even like ambush.
Yeah.
Which there's a lot of different ways to give this effect. And it's definitely going to be tried out in Chase Shen, but it's
I
not.
think it's good in Vi
Yeah,
because Vi smacks the Nexus, right?
But why don't you just run them? Just, like I guess some work map is like
yeah.
Well, because you want to draw.
but if you snack the Nexus for 10, why do you want to draw?
How are you smacking? I guess I'm just saying. Like,
The reason you want to draw is so that you can potentially get value out of it on a bricked hand early, and it's like if you're like that's why
maybe it's
you'd
too
run.
expensive.
It might be too expensive to run over map, but I think it's at
Yeah.
least considerable.
So, and we had the same effect in Magic, and it was a 1 mana card. It gave +1/+1 and this effect, but it would fall off if you didn't attack with the unit that turn. So, and it was pretty good in standard, but never saw play outside of standard.
I mean, I feel like Pickpocket is almost a card.
Wait, but now it's
You know what I
getting
mean?
now you're getting on the high end of opium.
I've seen this card.
Henchman, then
I've
We
seen
can
this
go
card
right
in
to the top.
decks. You know what do you mean?
Minus Henchman would be the top of that copium pile.
Yes.
Oh gosh, Midden Stoke. Yeah, that's copium. I mean,
Also play the new Supercharge. Sneak your midden step into
yeah,
play.
Ooh.
Supercharge. Let's go.
Fun deck.
Gosh.
Anyways, yeah, I can see this finding a home. This is one of the crazy cards, but I think they balanced it correctly with 3 mana, so let's move on.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Kinkou Student, more Shen love. Somebody really likes Shen at Riot and wants to make him a real champion. That's why we saw Shen buffs over and over and over. 2
Yep.
mana, 3/1. When another ally gets barrier, give me barrier this round if I don't have it. Doesn't get infinite barriers, like I have to hear the voice line over and over. It blesses her followers. But
Yep. Nature. Like, it's gonna be doubled up.
Yeah. I gave it a
don't know.
7, Nihilist gave it an 8, Vicky only gave it a 5. Is it just like
Yeah.
because you think Shen is bad, or do you think the card itself is bad?
It's a 2 mana 3/1
Yeah.
that relies on other cards to gain a lot more value, and it's like barrier. Like I don't know, it's fine. I don't think it's exciting or interesting or that good.
I think
What-
it's good,
what are you
but
looking
barrier is
for?
one of the strongest combats, strongest keywords you can have in the game. So, yeah. It's
It's
just a
true.
2-drop for Shen.
I just
Yeah,
don't.
I
I
think
guess it's a fearsome blocker in Ionia, and that's massive.
It's like
Red
one reason.
Nihilist.
Yeah.
I think it also just like turbo levels Shen,
Yeah.
which is
True.
kind of scary. Like, there's that, and also it just does double duty whenever you use any barrier in combat.
Yeah.
Right? You're suddenly winning. You're using 1 card to suddenly win 2 trades in combat opposed to just 1,
True.
which is, I don't know, seems quite big.
I could see that.
I've recently been working on a more aggressive Chase Shen list with like Flame Chompers and Boom Baboon. This is just
Ooh, that sounds
perfect
sick.
second 2-drop or third 2-drop even.
I
to
get
rush them down, and then give your flame jumpers barrier, give this barrier, and then they have like a lot of trouble dealing with it. And it's leveled on turn 5.
I think I'll be honest. I like 2 mana 3/1s. I think they're good. I think they're fun. Like the Phantom Butler, I also think is pretty good. Like we were looking at earlier. Yeah, they're right there. Yeah, so I think it's funny. I don't think this card's like bad. I think that the archetype it's in is kind of like lackluster, and very niche.
Yeah,
So
but it's
I think
okay.
that was like my biggest hesitation to like rating it higher.
Next card we have here is 4 mana burst, moral support. Costs 2 less if you have supported an ally this game. Oh, it's this game. I thought this was this round. So possibly
It's really
even
good.
rate this even higher. Give an ally barrier this round. So just 2 mana and Ionia. And I want to mention this is also one of the first cards to actually give barrier to unit outside of, like in Ionia, outside of Spirit's Refuge.
Yep.
This guy, it's 4 mana barrier. It's the first 2 mana barrier. I think it's really sick. And not even just in Shen, but in many, many decks.
Lulu.
Esmus.
Oh, freaking A. Moral support. So you guys both gave it a 7 while I gave it a 6. I think this card's good. I think it's solid.
I think you play at least one of in like Ari decks.
It's a solid 2 mana spell.
I don't think you really run it in Ari, just because you're never gonna, like, in Ari board, you're not getting the barrier, are you? Like, you're not getting this cheap.
Esmus.
Yeah, I mean, okay, you get, like, I get having a barrier, but like, you're not getting this cheap, are you? Oh, supported. All right, I'm blind. Okay, never mind. Ignore me.
Okay.
No.
It's fine.
It's fine.
I thought it was if you've given a barrier, an ally barrier.
No,
I really can't read.
That's fine. It's okay. Yeah, so that's why I was like, Lulu decks seems super sick. Like Taric Bard, Taric Poppy seems like.
Well, Taric Bard doesn't work.
You can't play those in the spell. Never mind. I'm getting carried away. I had to make up for Nihilist.
Yeah, there's a lot of support, even like Lulu.
The Witch.
Yes, Young Witch as well. There's like a lot of different support guys now.
Zed, let's play.
So once they turn it back into 1/2, good again, and then you play this card. Yeah. Okay, we all agree. Next card, Royal Decree, 3 mana focus. Give an ally +2/+2 and challenge in this round. We also all agree. Nice. Or summon an Honored Lord. I gave it a 6, Ned gave it a 6, Vic gave it a 7. Honored Lord is, of course, the 3/2. That is, this guy. There's text as well. So basically, you get +2/+2 in Challenger or a 3/2. My most important, interesting question would be, since we all agree on the level, what deck do you see this card in?
What deck? I think you can go into a lot of decks. I think you can put this in Dragons, and it's really funny. I think you can put it in Sivir Akshan. I think you can put this in Scout. I think this card's pretty good. I think it's a very versatile card.
That's where do you see it?
I mean, when I was thinking about it, the one was just the Shen Demacia shell. I think just being able to turn now. I think now the deck is running less. That is getting to a point where it's running a lot less challenges. You're running stuff like Kinkou Student, and you've probably still got a lot of the early game that is challenges.
Just give Shen challenger.
Yeah, there's obviously Shen. You've got River Shaper, Kinkou Student, Greenslade Caretaker. All of those things that aren't challenges, you can suddenly turn into them, which is like good. Plus, it can just go and push for lethals and whatever. It's still +2/+2 buff.
Yeah,
that's not irrelevant.
It's not. It's huge, actually.
Yeah. It just, I don't know. It just seems very, very flexible, and also just burst speed unit.
Burst speed unit.
Who doesn't
It's
like
open
burst speed unit?
It's an open attack. It's lit.
I see this mostly in Pantheon still. I'm still a Pantheon believer. I think the deck is just like...
Ooh.
And the main
Ooh,
reason for this
that
is
is-
because you can just play this on turn 2 as well as a Fierce blocker. Like, main reason you don't like Pantheon that much is they play a Risen Rider on turn 2. Just sad about your life. Just don't have a Fierce blocker. And just Royal Decree out a blocker. And then you're like, haha. Or you just play this later as a big challenger guy.
That's really rude.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that hits.
Yeah, no, that makes. I remember there were a lot of people, at least initially, who were on the experimenting with the confront in that shell as well,
Eesh, okay.
which is kind of like it was kind of similar logic. I mean, this was very very early on in the life of Pantheon, but it's
No, that's a good card in Pantheon. It's super good in Pantheon.
yeah. So it's like it's kind of similar. It's not granting it; it's only giving it, but it's still.
But you get
Often you're-
+2/+2. Like you're saving health. Like your unit's surviving.
Yeah,
And it's also very flexible. Like the solves two of the
Yeah.
biggest problems with Pantheon with like you only do combat tricks and no units, and you get rushed down by field
Right.
sims, and it's just like good against both the situations. As well as being good if you already do a game plan.
Yep.
Lots of different homes for this card. We all kind of give it a little bit of a low rating. 6, 6, 7 is like not the highest ever. Because you probably won't
It's
earn this as a 3-off or something, just a 1-off.
1 or 2.
Nice.
Riptide
Okay.
Sermon?
Riptide Sermon. I'm interested in
Let's
this
go.
one. 6 mana slow. Deal 4 to enemy units, spawn 3, deal 2 to the enemy nexus. Lots of different text. Basically, you get a 3/3, you deal 4 to a guy and 2 to the nexus for 6 mana. I gave it an 8, Vicky gave it an 8, Nihilist gave it a 6. Micro comparison would be like a magic card. It was like a 4 mana 4/2, deal 4 damage. And this was one of the most broken cards ever. Early days of Magic. It's kind of similar. You get a guy, you deal damage. You can do this on turn 3. On turn 3, your opponent plays like a 6 or a Caitlyn. You just do this. They like are sad about their lives. And I really like this card. Nihilist, any concerns?
I think it does a lot of things. I think it's very good at doing a lot of things. I think it's just a little expensive. It's my only kind of concern.
You want it to be cheaper?
No, I don't want it to be cheaper. I just think Illaoi as a deck has a lot of expensive spells in it, or like it doesn't have many cheap spells, as it were. It's got,
Okay.
if you look at its 3 core spells, they're 4, 5, and now 6 mana,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Which is kind of taxing. You can't just keep playing them all out, and you do want to keep playing a lot of them out. So it's like, I don't know. I think it's just, I think the Illaoi has doesn't have a lot of mana to spare a lot of the time, which makes this a tad awkward. But I don't know. It's definitely strong. I might be wrong on it, but yeah, I don't think it's game breaking at all.
I feel like this is more true for like the master decks where they say you don't have mana to spare, like, but if I play like Bard Illaoi, oftentimes have random mana to spare because I just have like a 1-drop and a 2-drop, and then Illaoi, and I have like 6 spells. And I think this definitely maybe it replaces Cosmic Binding in that deck. We'll have to see. Cosmic Binding is pretty nice. It's
Cosmic
like a
Binding's
fast spawn.
Pretty good. Yeah.
Have to see. But it's a nice card.
Yeah, I like it with Chase. That'd be funny.
Next
I don't know.
guy.
I think it's solid.
Also an Ares Plunder, but it doesn't matter. Next guy.
True.
The Paper Tree. Oh, nice. We all agree.
We finally
Moving on.
all agree.
Anyways, let's read this. 2 mana, Banner City Landmark. The Paper Tree, when an ally with an attachment attacks, grant that ally +1/+0. Another Talia 6 nerf by making the Bomber Twins worse and getting it more unplayable cards. It's like ridiculous. Like how many bad cards it has now. It has like 1 bad card. Now it has like infinite bad cards.
Yeah.
And yeah, like this is just not an effect. Like if you have an ally with an attachment, you don't care about it getting +1/+0.
Then maybe you do, right?
It would be nice if you get it for free or something, but
Like an
most
overwhelm.
prominent attached deck is like the Papercraft deck, but you don't want to
Yeah.
get a
They're
random
already
2
OTK.
Yes, just for the KO anyways.
Yeah.
Would be interesting if even if this card said all of your attached units, all of your units with attachments have +2/+0. Maybe that would be better, but like you not you have to get multiple
+1/+1.
decks.
I think the other thing that they could have done to make it a tad more interesting is instead of it buffing the base ally, you buff the attached thing.
Oh
Yeah,
yes.
yep.
Because at the
That'd be
moment,
better.
I mean, it probably doesn't come close to making it playable, but at least makes it more interesting that this buff would just be permanent, basically,
Permanent, yeah.
for your whatever your next thing is.
Yeah.
But by the way, this card makes me really excited because they finally have an official confirmation how this is called, like the attaching unit or like attached unit.
Attachment.
You have attachment.
An attachment. It is an
yes.
ally with an attachment.
Absolutely. Biggest
Finally getting
implication.
some clarification on attaches wordings.
Yes,
Right.
perfect. They're learning. And next card is really dropping it hot. It's Drop the Bomb.
Yep.
2 mana slow, Velocity, deal 2 to unit, and summon a Scrappy Bomb. Scrappy Bomb is the 1 mana.
Countdown 2.
Countdown 3.
Countdown
Either
3,
one.
yeah.
It's
Great
just like
card.
landmark synergies and kill a guy, make a bomb. The landmarks.
It's crazy. You kill an auction with this. I love it.
Yeah, that's similar to what we said before. Velocity had deal 2 before on Electro opponents or zero play. Not like really game breaking, but it's a nice
That
card.
card's good though. I think that card's good.
Kind of a Vandal City Death's Hand is what I'm comparing it to. It's because it's a deal 2 to a unit and eventually deal 2 to deal 1 to the Nexus.
Yeah,
Nice.
True.
Would you
We
run this
already
outside of
pretty highly.
landmark decks in your list?
Yes.
I mean, I'm running this in Treasure Trash.
Oh.
Yeah.
I can finally flip Ziggs in it.
Oh, true.
Dog.
Yeah, that's true.
We now have
You
Conservatory
always like
now
turn
this.
2 off, right? Yeah.
Should just make this the 6th spell. Maybe I should just do it.
Oh, that would, if they did that, I hope that would be amazing. But I don't think
True.
Ziggs needs buffs.
They'll probably just put it in the no, you couldn't. You put it in the Telestone. That's sick.
Possibly broken. But yeah, we all agree 7, 7, 8. Next
Very good
card
card.
here. Rite of Passage. Oh, this was interesting. Okay, we all agree again. Nice. 2 mana focus, manifest an allied landmark that has been destroyed this game and summon it. So you have to destroy an allied landmark first, either by countdown or by blowing it up. And you can manifest from all of those that you destroyed and summon it again. Works with Shellfolk, I guess. And I've seen people bring a major copium with like the Risen Altar or something. How is it called? It's Risen Altar.
So slow.
Can summon a 6 mana landmark for 2 mana. Or like they blow up your Howling Abyss. And then you can just resummon it for 2 mana. It's like the most broken. I literally saw these comments, but it's like okay. I gave it a 6, Nels gave it a 5, Vic, you gave it a 4.
Yeah, it's fine.
I think the one like interesting application that I've seen tossed around, talking to some of the players of the Akshan Infinite deck,
Ooh.
is it kind of gets around that deck's vulnerability to landmark removal.
Oh, okay.
That's kind of the main thing, outside of obviously like Blighted Ravine and stuff.
Okay.
Because it was like one of that deck's lose conditions was you just blow up the Warlord's Horde and then suddenly they can't combo off.
Right.
Whereas now after that happens, they Rite of Passage, they get their landmark back.
But this started over, right?
It starts over, yes, but they're normally completing it from like 5 in one turn anyway.
Yeah, okay.
So it's less of a blowout. And then even then, they can Rite of Passage, get back Warlord's Palace, and that's not terrible value either. With kind of how fast that deck flips landmarks.
Yeah. Okay,
Super interesting.
I think it's a cool card. It's fine.
Next, Sneezy Biggledust. 4 mana focus in. Wait, what do you like it? 4 mana focus in Velocity. Give allies +1/+1 this round. If they're created, give them +2/+2 instead.
Yes. So you gave it a 3. Neelis gave it a 7, and I gave it an 8. Why do you think this card is very weak?
we have a card right now that is called
Yordle and Arms?
no
Oh.
Spirit Portal.
No, that's not no, that's
It's-
not the same.
The fact that there's no discard involved is a big difference.
Yeah, but like
Yes.
you can't discard your flame chompers to get it buffed. Like, people are literally saying this card is so good with flame chompers, it's so broken with flame chompers, but this
It's
card
not
is
good with flame. No, who cares about flame
I mean,
chompers?
But like
Owls.
you're getting to your like big swing turns anyway, and you're wanting to have your 6 white board at that point
Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah.
So like getting out the flame trumpets that turn isn't as big, and then this buff is bigger, and doesn't have an extra cost.
Yeah.
but it's also temporary, so you literally need to win the game with it. And it's just like versus Yordle and Arms.
I think it is. Yeah, I think it is like a little bit of a worse, smaller Yordle and Arms, But I think what it enables is like earlier big swing turns,
Without
all.
necessarily the big commitment and the turn to answer the action to answer it and all of that,
Yeah.
since it's focus.
I think you just run this with Fae. You run like Fae Aid, you run the grandfather phase, so you're just like spamming out owl cats. And if you have a board full of what is that, four threes, I feel like that's really annoying to deal with.
But it's just
Very
like for
good
one
with
turn.
Poro Cannon as well.
Poro Cannon, oh my goodness, Poro Cannon is amazing. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah,
I love that.
I can see it, but it's just like a damage spell at this point, not just a better damage spell. Like Binding Light,
I don't know.
literally.
It's probably, I think,
But this is
ultimately,
faster than Binding Light. Go ahead.
I think it's ultimately never ran over Yordles and Arms.
It's a different deck.
I mean, the same region is the kind of where you end up stuck in justifying it.
Sure. Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think it's terrible. I think it just ends up being worse than Yordles and Arms in most situations. It's the unfortunate thing.
Okay. I think it's pretty good. Maybe I'm overrating it a little bit.
Yeah, I might be as well.
You have to see. I don't think this will see much play after the first Indies. Anyways, Glorious Call, next card. Finally, I have access to the Emperor's deck, which is super powerful. It must be broken
dude.
card. 6 mana burst, costs 2 less for each different Ascended ally you've played this game. So if you have played all 4 Ascended allies, it refunds 2 mana. No, kidding.
Oh, heck yeah.
Manifest a card from the Emperor's deck with cost 9 or less, so you can't get the 10 cost. Get Nectar and Narcissus out.
Just dumb. Why would they do that?
'Cause
Why
it's a
wouldn't it
broken
allow you
card.
to get like the coolest card?
Be broken with Chase. I don't know. We all gave it a bad rating. I gave it a 3 because I like Shurima. And Nihilist and Vic gave it a 2. Nils, do you want to explain why this is a bad card?
I think a lot of the Emperor's deck is good because the cards are undercosted. And this is a 4 mana card at best. Like most decks you're running it's going to have 1 Ascender that you've played. So 4 mana, add that onto the undercosted effect, and you end up kind of neutral.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you think about it, there's a 2 mana draw 2 in the Emperor's deck. If you add on 4 mana to that, that's a 6 mana draw 2. That's not a good card at all.
Right.
Yes, there's some cards you might not feel terrible about paying extra mana, but it's like the strong ones end up at about 9 mana that you've invested into it.
Yeah.
Sandstorm ends up at 13 mana, and it's like it's just not worth it, no matter how strong those effects are.
But what if you do get 3 different Ascendants? And it's a 0 mana spell, isn't it? Like, I don't know. I'm like, maybe I'm thinking then it's in a bad deck, I guess, at that point, right? That's the answer.
Yeah, I think.
Okay.
I mean,
Yeah.
also, at that point, you're probably in Mono Shurima if you're doing that, right?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And at that point, just get the Emperor's deck yourself.
Yeah.
Just get the Emperor's deck. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. True. Exactly.
And in the current Emperor's deck, current Mono Shurima, the biggest problem is to just not draw both your champions. Like if you start one champion or so, just draw both your champions, you just have the deck. Like how you win. And you have the little struggle with Sundisk is if you don't drop off your champion, in this case, this card is also bad. Not a good card. More like a meme fun card. Next card, though, is one I saw a lot of arguments about. Swindle. And interesting. It's 2-mana burst, Bilgewater, manifest a non-champion card from the opponent's hand, plunder, I cost 1 less. I gave it an 8, Vicky gave it a 4. Vicky gave it a 7, and Nihilist gave it a 4. I think this card is just like a 1-mana time trick with a little bit of an upside. But it's also from the opponent's card, so it's ups and downs. Ultimately, it's just like a quick cantrip. It's really fun, and I love this card design. It's so cool. Niles, what do you not like about it?
I don't know. I don't value the information side of this as much as some people do. I don't think. Like
That's a joke. Yeah.
in a lot of situations, yes, it tells you what some of their cards are, but in a lot of cases, you're playing around the cards you see anyway.
Mm-hmm.
In a lot of cases, and because unless it's late game and they've got no cards in hand, you're still not going to know their full hand. So you're going to play around the rest of the cards that they could have anyway. So it's kind of like I don't think, because you're only seeing a small portion of their hand, not their whole hand. I think the information aspect of it isn't that great for you and is being kind of overrated. And then your comparison to Time Trick, I would just rather draw my own cards.
Mm-hmm.
And I think in a lot of cases, just having your opponent's cards is worse than having your own. So run things that draw your own cards instead.
Because you aren't stealing this one, right? You're just copying it?
Yeah. So also it doesn't count for TF or anything.
Oh,
wait, it doesn't count.
Just like with Plunder.
Oh no. It also doesn't count for the other guy, right? The black market merchant.
Nope, not now.
No, because you're not drawing it. Yeah.
That's so awkward. I thought it counted for TF. Maybe like I would go down to like 7 or 6.
They should
count for the TF.
Yeah, they should change the wording on this to be like manifest a non-champion card from your opponent's hand and draw it. And draw a copy. You know what I mean? Just to like make it, I don't know, maybe that's weird.
Manifest a non-champion card, put it onto your deck, and draw one.
I don't know. It's okay. It's fine. Getting value is cool, I think, in my opinion.
I agree with the information aspect to be overrated. Like tournaments are open deck lists. Ladder is basically open deck list. So you just know what the cards your opponent is playing. By the way they play, you usually know what cards they're holding or what they're playing for. And I also think the information is not that good, but just having like a free card is nice.
Yep, it's cheap.
Really interesting. Next card.
I don't think it's going to be that much play.
Ransom Riches. 3 more cards. 1 mana, burst, Bilgewater, manifest a follower you can afford. I gave it a 4 because there might be some random case where you want to have a lot of spells and random followers. Spell-based deck or something.
Like Nami.
Everyone. Yeah, Nihilist, you gave it a 2. Just random for you?
Yeah, I think it's too random. And I think even in Nami decks, there's a whole bunch of spells that you'd rather run over it.
Yeah, you just get it off Burblefish and you're not too upset about it.
Yeah.
But I think it's too random. Like, the pool is massive. Like, I don't think this... Like, people have been complaining about all the RNG being introduced with this set. And I really feel like the pools that they've been introducing are just, like, way too wide for them to be, like, actually useful.
Just, like, everything. Yeah.
Imagine casting that turn 10.
You just really have
manifest
600.
a follower.
Yeah, right. You can anything from 0 to 10.
Yep.
Can't manifest a Sandstorm Chimera, unfortunately.
Oh, true.
Anyways, next card. It's kind of a filler card, but next card. Salvaged Scrap. 2 mana bursts PNC. To play, discard up to 2 cards. And create that many followers from your regions that cost 1 or more and reduce their costs by 1. You can't get a 0 cost, you can't get a caustic cast off of this. But I gave it a 3, I think it's garbage. I just gave it a 6, Vic gave it an 8. I think
Yeah.
discarding is nice and all, but you would always run Rummage over it. You want to discard, you just want these random followers, and maybe it's these playing like a full spell deck. But I don't think this is ever normally going to be put into a deck. Nice hit off of the Song Spinner though. Vic, what do you like about it?
I think it's cool. I think it's really cool in discard. And I don't think that like just because Rummage exists and is at the same mana point and discards 2 cards, I don't think that it's that Rummage completely pushes out Salvaged Scrap. I think that it's still valuable to play. You're generating 2 cards, and those are 2 units, and you can do some fun stuff where you're like discarding Scion and getting like another Lost Soul. I think the fact that you're getting another unit instead of just drawing from your deck is something to consider. Like being able to specifically get a unit or a spell is more powerful than just drawing from your deck at times, in my opinion. I know that might be wrong because like we do play the best cards in our deck. That's the point. But I don't know. Maybe I was talking to Stay Woke about this card, and maybe he like over copiumed me. But like, because I was like, this card's garbage, and he was like, no, it's crazy, it's super good. So maybe I drank the Kool-Aid a little too much. Nihilist?
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's certainly interesting. It's got. I think using this on Scion is definitely quite good. So
Yeah.
I mean, it's either a. Trying to think. I think there's only 3 hits on that.
You get a Farron. Let's go.
Baron, Leviathan, and Lost Soul.
Pretty
Are you
nice.
hit off of discarding Scion with this?
Oh, wait.
Yeah.
It costs 1 more. I read it as it costs more than 1. Interesting.
Yeah. So you get it. Yeah.
So you can select from it first.
Yes, you get to pick the pool that you're getting.
Now I get what you're talking about. What is he talking about?
Yes.
Silent so.
Yeah. So there's strategy involved with this card.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think in a lot of cases it's just okay, I'm going to discard these cards and then get some random followers. I think that's what's happening in a lot of cases. I think Scion is probably your only case where you're doing it.
Hombers is a crazy hit on 3. You get 3 mana cards, and like there's a lot of good 3 mana spell or minions.
True.
Like the Overwhelm unit, the Ballista, is super sick. Yeah, you drop a Fallen Rider and you get a Ballista. Woo!
Ooh.
Not bad.
I don't know, this card's sick.
Sick. Maybe if you can control it a little bit more, it's more interesting.
I guess the counterpoint there is for Scion discard at least, using it on your discard units is not as great because you've still got to play out everything.
Yeah, it's slow.
Yeah, it's slower, but I don't know, like the Jinx versions might be able to use it more or something like that.
A little bit faster.
Yeah, although they might like having their specific swarm cards more.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I think like with the specific pools that you get to target, and like you can think, okay, I'm gonna discard this chopper, and then I have to think about what is in the 3-cost spell or 3-cost units, and I think that's where the strength comes from, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
I will have lots of spreadsheets prepared for that.
Yeah.
Make like each region, each follower on each thing.
Yeah, for sure.
I think if you're using it, you're definitely targeting certain mana costs for what you're discarding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like Tribeam.
But why will you not just play the cards in the first place despite of running this?
Because now you're getting to discard stuff. So you get the discard value and you get to get the card.
And you get it cheaper.
Yeah, and you get a discount. Yeah, exactly.
Last card of this reveal, Evil Imperfectionist. Evil version of the good card. It's a 4/4 for 4. PNC, play, pick a card in hand, create 4 exit copies of it in your deck, and reduce their cost by 1. I gave it a 5, Nihilist, you gave it a 2, and Vic a 3. I think
Yeah.
this card is not terrible because it's just a 4-mana 4/4 with an upside. 4-mana 4/4 is just like, okay, in PNC. And if you want to have this copying stuff and duplication stuff, you can definitely see it being run. It's a little bit boring and a little bit plain, and you really have to want to do this copying stuff, but then it's not like it's punishing you for doing it.
Yeah, I don't know. It's super expensive. It has like a really lame body. It's a 4/4. I don't know. It looks like a path card, in my opinion. It's fine. I don't know. I don't think this card will ever see play. Like, not even in like Auction Infinite. Is this card's just so slow.
Yeah, I mean, it's 4 mana on there, go off to whereas it's just too expensive.
Yeah, maybe not in Akshan, but like in an Echo deck or in an Elnox deck or something. You shuffle in your Elnox.
I guess so. Yeah, people were talking about that card with Elnox, and I was like, all right, well, you're a memer and you play bad decks. It's fine.
I think this deck would not be bad if it had more support, but
Maybe one day.
One day Elnox would be good.
If it had more than 3 units in it.
But it's like the
Elnox-
point. Elnox is like designed around copying around decks.
Well-
the deck.
You just gotta. I don't know.
Yeah. But,
That's
yeah.
the flashback. The beta Elnox.
That's going to be all the cards revealed here. We're running very long
Nice.
again. And as for the
I don't
patch
think we
notes,
need
we
it.
can just like quickly scroll over it. You can also read them. But like you
New
have
cards.
new
New
cards.
keywords.
You have a new region, Path of Champions, Pork.
Oh,
Challenges,
wow. New Shurima.
Pork. New quests, Pork.
New quests.
Additional eye decks. Return of Labs is really, really Pork. We can make a separate episode about this where I beat Brick in Ultra Rapid Draw.
Yeah, we should make an episode about that.
And then we have like some
Star Guardian.
personalization. I'm immediately going to get the Star Guardian Kaiser. That's why I hate Star Guardian, but I like Kaiser.
Yeah, I'm excited for these, honestly. And I don't really like Star Guardian either.
And I hate
But,
how this looks.
It's fine.
So much better.
Yeah. So, is there any bug changes that are notable?
Not really.
What are we buffing in the bug fix section?
Right. What's getting buffed?
Nothing as far as I saw. I think just Thermo Beam. And, Half Champion will be its own mode, so Labs will be buffed. Spacelinger gets buffed. Targeting text. Counters are not highlighted. Champion text did an update. Thermo Beam goes up in the action log.
Cool.
Ceronina. I never heard this name before.
Cool. New. That was a position that they've been hiring for a while. So I wonder if that's the person who filled it.
See? Lower not dying. We feel. Get more
Let's
people.
go.
Will it be a
All
pass,
right.
by the way? Do you know that?
Yes, it is a pass. It is a pass.
Nice. Oh my god, this spot
Yep.
looks so...
Yep. Dude, the board looks nice. It's
Anyways,
very cute.
thanks you both for joining, and
Yeah.
I love talking about these cards with you. We have so many great opinions, and it's just so fun. Love it.
Yeah, it was great.
Mhm. Yep.
Niels, do you have any shout outs you'd like to make?
Well, I mean, not really. I've not really any. Sounds.
Shout out to TKG.
Shout out to
You're
TK.
awesome.
Shout out to TKG.
Yeah, I
Let's go
guess.
TKG. Shout out to
Yes.
Liz.
Yes. Shout out to Lizzie and Cam for their seasonal top
Right.
cuts. Yeah.
They
Yeah,
both did so
congrats.
fantastically.
Yeah, thank you for watching. Check out Rivan, check out TKG, check out ABG.
Let's
Thank
go.
you.
All right.